Enough time me can it be? Enough time me can it be? Yeah, I'm back home. Oh yeah. Enough time me can it be? Enough time me can it be? Can it be? Yeah, yeah, don't get some mama ko Japa. It's mama ko Japa. It's mama ko, get some mama ko Japa. Say you know, say they make my heart beat up body go. Say you know. Say if you leave me, baby, what up for do? Say you know. I feel to use my head to break up, but not for you. Say you know. Hey, say you know. Adopra, bra, bra, adopra, bra, adopra. Before what you, it no problem, huh? Japa, let's go.
Well. Thank you very much. And good afternoon once again to everyone. I would like to welcome everybody to the Nigerian Yorkshire Community Network UKCIC Group, the Community Engagement and Awareness Forum, and the UK Immigration and Upcoming Changes and Japa Project Question and Answer Session. I would like to welcome everybody once again on behalf of our organization, our volunteers, our committee, our stakeholders. And the Immigration Session and Engagement Forum Awareness is a kind of a session we normally have on a yearly basis. And we started this since we started our organization in 11th of October 2020. My name is Mr. J. Skolawole. I'm the founder and the president of the organization. And today we're going to be running the session as usual every year as we bring in important high-level guests, our high-level immigration solicitors, that with us. I said they're going to be breaking it down for us. So if you have any question on immigration, it's a really good time. As I've said, you're welcome again. If you're joining us from anywhere, please, if you can put your name and where you're joining us from in the chat. Remember that we're running this live on YouTube, on Facebook, and this is for the benefit of those people that cannot make it today. And I would like to say thank you very much for everybody joining us. We're not going to take much of your time. So before we start anything, we like to put everything in the hands of God and Allah, and that is one of my practices, and I believe that is so for everybody. So before I go ahead, I think I'm going to bring someone in on the audience to bring Mrs. Subai to give us a prayer on this session. We want to try and see if we can see everybody's face. It's very important that we get to see each other. And the point of the Zoom session is for you to be able to, we can see each other, you can know who's who. So Mrs. Subai, if you can come on board and please give us a prayer. Give us a prayer, opening prayer to this session. Mrs. Subai, if you don't mind.
Let's pray. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
In the mighty name of Jesus. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for everything you have been doing in our life. We thank you for your protection. We thank you for your loving kindness. Father, we say be thou exalted, oh God, in Jesus' name. Mm-hmm. Father, as we want to start this program, Father, we pray you will start with us in the mighty name of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Father, we pray that everything we are going to do, you are going to cover it with the blood of Jesus. Mm-hmm. And we pray at the end of everything, we have all the everything to glorify you in Jesus' name. Mm-hmm. In Jesus' mighty name, I've prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Subai. And that is thank you for contributing. As we said, we're all here to work as a community and together. And whenever we have sessions like this, it's very important that we try to see how we can help our organization. For those people that don't know about our organization, the Nigerian Yorkshire Community Network is a combination of Nigerian student families and businesses in the UK diaspora. And we are a very strong community. We do lots of activities. And you can always check us out our website on www.nycn.org.uk. If you have any inquiries, you send an inquiry to us on admin@nycn. Our organization gets involved with different community activities. We get involved with different communities from other communities, from other ethnic communities in terms of what we do. But why we're so special is not because this is an organization all around Yorkshire. For those people that don't know Yorkshire, Yorkshire is the biggest county in the whole of UK. The Yorkshire is divided into 4, north, south, east, and west, and Umba. So it's one of the biggest, and we're one of the richest. So that's why we're very happy. So Nigerians here are Nigerians that we try to put everybody together. If you look how many areas in Yorkshire, it's so big that basically, so on our platform, we have going to the Telegram and the WhatsApp and the social media, we have more than 2,000 members, including social media. So we are doing our best, but today is actually to make sure that we bring people on board. So once again, let's try and put this link on our university platform so that people can join us. It's very, very important we do that. And again, what we're doing today is the Community Engagement and Awareness Forum, UK Immigration and Upcoming Changes. And we're going to be having our guest speakers. They're going to be talking about immigration. They're there to give you some of the advices, the best way to go in terms of immigration. What are the changes, that has actually occurred in the UK? And on the Japa project side of things, we will be talking about that. So how, whenever you're a community in the diaspora, talk about community parenting, child upbringing, awareness, safeguarding, and etc. And how do you survive? What are the successful tips in living in the UK diaspora, etc. So we're going to be helping you on that side. But to start that today, I would like to welcome our guest speakers. And one of them is based, I'm just going to introduce them, is Mr. Kenny Ayilaka, LLM, basically is the principal solicitor for Gracefield Solicitor in Leeds. Mr. Ayilaka is our community solicitor, community lawyer, whenever we have any legal advice. And if any of our community members or individuals or families are having any issues that they don't understand in terms of legal, we normally refer them to Gracefield Solicitor in Leeds. So please, anytime, make sure you note that name, Gracefield Solicitors, and they're always there to help us. Our second guest today is MS Olaide Awobila. He's a specialist in immigration law and family law, and that is my lovely sister, honorable sister, that is always joining us all the way from Manchester. She's a specialist in immigration and law firm and family matters. And if you want to get in touch, you can always get in touch with her. She'll be able to advise you, and they have best services. So we have them. We were expecting the Home Office to join us, Home Office representative, but we don't know, maybe they will be joining us yet. But from there, we can only start. As I've said, areas of discussion today are student tier 4 visa, student tier 2 sponsor visa, postgraduate visa, analyzing Japa project, understanding and abiding by the UK law. So so that is what if you're joining us, please, let's try and put our name on the chat and where we're joining each other. And let's try and invite our friends. This is a session that you can ask any question. That when it comes to, if you're a student, if you're a family living in this country, and you came to this country with a student visa, by the time you finish that student visa, what is the next thing for you to do? Okay, you might have a postgraduate visa. Once you finish that postgraduate visa, do you want to stay in the UK? Do you want to go back? How do you do that? The immigration system in the UK is very complicated. These are our immigration lawyer. They're going to break it down into pieces for you. And even if you want to have a kind of a one-to-one session with them in their office, you can always contact them. But remember that they will charge you a bit. That's what I would always say. Our membership, if you're a membership, paid membership, there's always a discount for our solicitors, and they will be able to help you. So these are all the things you want to. Whenever you come to this country with children and family, you're about to finish your education, what is the next plan? You need to have a plan for your family. Yeah, a lot of people say, I don't want to go back to Nigeria. But we have a new president there, President Tinubu now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, things will come up anyway. So in order for me to carry on, I'm going to call our first guest speaker, and that is Mr. Kenny Ayilaka, Principal Solicitor, Gracefield Solicitors in Leeds. And Mr. Ayilaka will be able to introduce himself, where he's based in Leeds, and as our community lawyer. So let me bring you on board, Mr. Ayilaka, as our first guest speaker. You're welcome on board, sir. Thank you very much. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Thank you. Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, and thank you for everyone that has joined. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Kehinde Ayeleka. I'm the principal solicitor of Graceful Solicitors. We are based in Leeds. Apart from we were in 26 Randy Road, but with effect from next week, we are going to move. We are moving to 243 A Randy Road. It's still up the street there. So as the moderator had said, we deal with immigration, personal injuries, family law, and a bit of employment law. All right, as well, of course, as well as contract and business affairs. So, in a short, those are what we deal with. We are based in Greece, as I said. I don't know where everyone here, whether everyone here is based in Leeds or from. Because I know there are members from outside Leeds, from the entire Yorkshire. So once again, I welcome everyone who is on the platform right now. Now, without wasting much of your time, because I know that there's a limited time for this program, the chairman has mentioned a bit of what is going to happen and what's going to be discussed. The aspect how we deal with, I know that there is somebody else here, Miss Awobile. Yes, I know she's also going to talk about immigration and family law. But what I'm going to do is a brief summary. I'm not going to go into details about any aspects of the immigration issues, because most of us will already know all these things from previous discussions and from what you have also experienced. Because most of us are also immigrants here, so you probably know a lot about your own immigration status. So what I will want to bring is, first of all, I want to identify the fact that many of us here, started as immigrants. So we are either students here on student visa, or we are here on a family visa, or on a work visa, which probably will be. So I think these are the three categories that are common for all of us here. So first of all, and I think what the moderator said is let's talk about what are the changes or likely changes or upcoming changes in immigration rules in relation to all these categories. All right. Yes, of course, it is clear now that most people, when they come here, it's either you come here on a visiting visa, on a student visa, family visa, or work visa. Many people are unable to come on a work visa and they don't have families in the UK. So most of the time, they have to resort to finding ways of coming here on the basis of a student visa. All right. So, and I can say that half of the population of immigrants in the UK will probably have come on the basis of a student first, although their ultimate goal is to settle in the UK, but because they can only come here first as a student, they find the means of getting visa as a student. So look for funds to pay the university fees and then find themselves here as a student. So that in recent years have resulted into what they have classed now as a disproportionate immigration increase in net migration. All right. For many students, when you come here, you also bring in their family members.
Calm down.
Go and sit.
Good afternoon. So students, of course, I don't need to talk about how you come in as students. Everyone who is a student here knows how he or she came in. The changes in this category relates to dependents, right? Because the Home Office, they've realized that, look, the population of dependents are even more than the students themselves. And so that has led to what they have called net increase in net migration. So with effect from January 2024, I think they are bringing in new rules. They are introducing new rules to restrict the ability of students to come in with dependents, except of course those who are doing postgraduate research programs. These are the ones they will allow to come in with dependents. Of course, those who are coming in September, yeah, they still have the advantage of coming in with their dependents. But with effect from January next year, they won't have that opportunity again. And again, they are also still considering further changes to the rules in relation to the students, because they have realized that many students who come here, the ultimate goal is to come and work here, not just to study and go back. So, and still that will not have any impact on the next migration they want to reduce. So they are still planning. So they have programs to which they want to introduce in order to stop students from switching to work visa, unless and until you finish your studies. So they want to make it more stringent, all right, for you to be able to switch from student visa to the work visa. But details have not yet been provided how it's going to work. We've not yet set that out. But effectively from January 2024, they will be introducing all these rules. So that is in relation to student
Tier 4 visa.
Tier 4 student visas, right? Of course, what the impact on the student visa again is, because at the end of your studies, I don't hardly, or if I can say, only few students elect to go back. So towards the end of your studies, students most of the time will have been thinking, okay, what do I do? How do I extend my visa in the UK? All right. So they now begin to look for work visas. Of course, there are various categories of work visas you can switch to. There is the formerly the Tier 2 visa, which is now skilled worker visa. All right. So most students switch to this visa. Of course, you need an offer of employment before you can switch it to this visa. All right. So most of the time, students are able to switch, probably because they find an employer who is prepared to give them offer of employment and issue them with certificate of sponsorship. All right. So if you are lucky enough to get used to an employer, maybe you've done some work experience with them and they like you, and then you are able to meet their requirements, they may offer you a job as soon as you are finishing your studies, in which case they will be prepared to issue a certificate of sponsorship and sponsor your stay in the UK. So that is one. These are skilled jobs. Also, that it also includes all this. When I say skilled job now, that incorporates these healthcare workers, right? Although if you are applying for a healthcare job, that's a different category. It means different requirements. But I will class them as skilled job, whether it's in the health sector, in the engineering sector, computer sector, any other sector, they are all skilled jobs. For all these, you still require a certificate of sponsorship from the employer. So as I said, yes, so these are the work categories you can switch to. There are other job categories for which you can switch to without requiring a job offer, which is what most students also can also consider. All right. Yes, at the moment there is the graduate visa route. In the graduate visa, most of us will know that. Once you finish your studies successfully, they allow you to apply onto the graduate visa. All right. This is just a one-off visa which is granted to you just for 2 years without an offer of employment, no conditions. Once you finish your studies successfully, you can apply onto the graduate visa, and then for 2 years, of course, whatever you decide to do with the 2 years will be up to you, but 2 years will always end. So within the 2 years, you may find a job and switch to a skilled worker visa, or you may be able to set up your own business, which we'll get to that later now. But the graduate visa, as we all know, it does not lead to settlement. So it's just a one-off visa. It does not lead to settlement. So I think that is why most of our students, when they finish, they don't like to embrace, they don't like to apply onto that. They say, oh, because it does not lead to settlement. But I think some of them have even been making mistakes about what they understand by it does not lead to settlement. The graduate visa on its own is a one-off visa issued to you for 2 years. At the end of the visa, you cannot extend it, right? But at least it gives you 2 years. The 2 years you spend under the graduate visa counts towards your lawful residence. If you are looking at applying for indefinite leave to remain on the basis of your 10 years lawful residence in the UK, that graduate visa 2 years will count towards that. Some really didn't understand that, so they thought it does not count towards anything, and so they don't want to switch to the graduate visa. But I'm saying it does count towards indefinite leave to remain on the basis of 10 years lawful residence. But on its own, the graduate visa does not lead to settlement. It's only for 2 years. It cannot be renewed. So I think that should explain it. So the next thing I want to say is, sorry.
No, carry on, please.
I thought somebody wants to talk.
Yeah. No, carry on. The question and answer will come later. So once you explain this.
Okay. Now the other thing I want to talk about is, when you finish your studies, during your graduate scheme, there are other options, there are other visas you could apply for without requiring a job offer, right? One of them is there is the new, of course, you know that what's a startup visa. If you want to start a business here in the UK, right? They've introduced the startup visa, which enabled you to apply for a visa without a job. But of course, for you to start up a business of your own, right? But the problem there was that, they required you to have a fund of at least £50,000. And then, of course, you needed an endorsing body to endorse your project and your business plan. So many people have done that, but many people are restrained because of the fund, the £50,000 fund. So, but now that has now been replaced. So there is no need for £50,000 anymore, all right? And you cannot make any fresh application onto the startup visa anymore. But they've now introduced a new category, which is the innovator visa, right? So that's what they call the innovator founder visa, right? So it's another way of allowing you to stay in the UK without an offer of employment, but of course for you to start up your own business, right? Of course, as the name suggests, it's an innovation. You have a business idea that is an innovation from anybody else. So they don't permit you to copy the business that somebody else is doing. It has to be something that is unique and genuine to you.
Please, you need to lower that thing. You need to lower it. I'm listening to the program.
Sorry?
Please carry on. It's just someone that I've muted. Sorry.
Okay. The innovator founder visa allows you to apply for a visa without an offer of employment. The innovator founder visa is for you to set up your own business, to pursue your business idea, right? Of course, the challenge there is you need to draw up a business plan. You need an endorsing body to endorse your business plan and say, yes, this business is viable, is genuine, and is real. So once you scale through the burden of having an endorsed body approve your business plan, then you can make your application to the Home Office for a visa. But of course, it's not automatic that they will grant you a visa. But it's okay once you have an endorsement from one of the endorsing bodies, right? And part of the requirement, of course, there's no requirement for any minimum investment, right? But of course, when you drop your business plan, you need funds to execute the business plan, and so you will also still provide for funding. How you are going to fund the project, you still need to provide for that within your business plan. And so that is everything that the endorsing body will review to determine whether your business is actually genuine and scalable or realistic, right? So this, of course, there are other previous ones. We call it the Global Talent Visa Fund. That is restricted to the some specific fields, and that's not common among our people here anyway. So in a nutshell, these are the limited areas that I think some of our students can go into. All right. Then I can talk of the family visas, right? Now, some of us, if you are not here as a student, you are not here as a worker, of course, you may be here as a member of a family. So either you are here as a spouse or on the parent route, right? So you are here on a family visa. Of course, we know many of our people have been here. Some, let me see. If you are here on a family visa, all right, because let me talk about, there are some changes that, before we talk about that, now I talked about the graduate visa, the 2 years you spend on a graduate visa being allowed to count towards long residence, right? Now there are changes now which came into effect on the 12th of April this year about what leave or residence counts towards continuous lawful residence. Prior to 12th April 2023, if you have been here, if you have stayed here as a visitor or short-term student visa for a short period of studies, or you've been granted temporary admission because you have claimed asylum, all the period you stay here counts towards lawful residence. So if you want to claim 10-year lawful residence, so you live there as a student on a short-term basis, or as a visitor, or you are granted temporary admission because you claim asylum. So the period you stay here during those time will count towards long residence basis. However, from 12th of April, that has now changed. They no longer accept the period you spend here on a short-term student visa, the period you spend here as a visitor, the period you spend here while you are on temporary admission because you claim asylum. You no longer accept that counts, that is lawful residence. And so for that purpose, it will no longer count for the purpose of 10 years continuous lawful residence. unless you have submitted your application before 12th of April. So I know some people who are just waiting who are just counting 10 years now, thinking that the period they were here on asylum, because some may still have an asylum application pending now, but unfortunately, you can no longer count. You can no longer, your clock about the 10 years will have stopped now, so you can no longer count towards 10 years at all. So your 10 years will begin to count after your asylum application has been granted. Except, of course, you have been able to apply before the 12th of April 2023. So that is just what I want to say about that. Because the changes, although it took effect from 12th of April, they applied it in retrospect. So even the period you stayed there, even before you stayed there, even for the past 5 years, it no longer counts. Then in the family issue, yes, there is a positive change we've introduced. Of course, that one started June. That one started June last year. Anyway, June 2022. If you have a child that was born in the UK and the child has lived there for 7 years, that child becomes entitled to indefinite leave to remain. If you don't know it now. All right. Instead of your child does not need to wait there for 10 years. So if a child who was born in the UK has lived there for 7 years, he will become eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain. Now, those who have children that were brought into the UK as a child, and the child has lived in the UK for 7 years, all right, without leave, of course, then the child will become entitled to apply for leave to remain on the basis of his private life in the UK. So if a child has applied for has been granted leave to remain on the basis of his or her private life in the UK, right, and the child has spent 7 years here already, all right, the child will also be eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain. So there is what they now call the early concession, early indefinite leave to remain concession. That's a policy now by the Home Office, whereby children who are granted leave to remain while they were still children under the age of 18, they don't need to live here for 10 years before becoming entitled to be before becoming entitled to apply for indefinite leave to remain. They can apply for indefinite leave to remain if they were granted leave to remain on the basis of their private life and they've lived here more than half of their years in the UK. So not necessarily 10 years anymore. But if a child who has been here for 7 years or less, but was granted leave to remain as a family member, then that child has to stay on the family roots as opposed to a private life. I don't know how to explain that. Let me just give an example. If you entered UK with a child who is age 4 or 5, all right, and you lived here for 7 years, and the child stays here with you for 7 years, the parents don't have leave to remain, the child doesn't have leave to remain, but you all came on a visiting visa which has expired. Now, after the child has lived here for 7 years, the parent will also have lived here for 7 years. And then you apply for leave to remain on the basis of the child being here for 7 years, still being under 18. So you can apply for the child's leave to remain on the basis of the child's private life. So if that application is successful, the parents will be granted leave to remain as well. All right. So, but that child will have leave to remain on the basis of his private life. But the parents will be granted leave to remain outside the rules on the basis of their parental relationship with the child. Now, if Whilst you are here with that child, you have another child here who is 3 years at the time of you making this application. You know, the child that was here for 3 years has not been here for 7 years. So the child cannot be granted leave to remain on the basis of his private life. So the child would have to follow the parents as dependents of the parents, and then the child will be granted leave to remain on the basis of being a family member to the parents. So which means the child cannot get indefinite leave to remain after 5 years, right? Unlike the child that was granted leave to remain on the basis of his private life. I don't know if that is clear. But of course, what I expect question about that. But of course, it means the child who was granted leave to remain on the basis of his family life with the parent will have to live out the 10 years until he will have to remain on the same line with the parents. So if you have children who have been here for 5 years and they were granted leave to remain on the basis of their private life, you should know that after 5 years, you can apply for the child to have indefinite leave to remain, so that you don't necessarily have to wait for the child to stay with you for 10 years and apply with you until you clock 10 years. For the parents, you must live out your 10 years. There is no concession for parents. The parents must live out the 10 years, but the children, they don't need to live out the 10 years. So they can they can apply to settle after 5 years. I think these are the areas that I think are common to us, right? I don't know, I may have omitted anything, so, but in question and answer session, I think I can answer anything you think I've omitted. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is what I just want to say now.
All right. Thank you very much. I think a round of applause for our solicitor, and that is Mr. Kende Ayilaka. He is our community solicitor. Thank you very much, sir. And we'd like to say a very huge thank you. And this is very important that you see all this session by our immigration lawyer. A lot of people pay hundreds and hundreds of pounds for it. But whenever we bring them onto this session once a year, everybody should take the opportunity. And our guest speaker, Mr. Kende Ayilaka, will be staying behind to answer questions. If you have any questions, don't hide all those questions. These are questions that whenever you go to other solicitors, you know how much they will charge you. But this is why we bring this session. So, any immigration session for yourself, for your family, as a student, because if you go onto the UK Home Office website, I can guarantee you, it's so confusing. There's so many clauses, etc. This is the purpose of our immigration experts. They dive into these big sessions and they bring out the main thing that can make you stay in the UK or with your family. And especially if you have families, these are everything. For example, I've been writing a lot down. Look, this is my paper. I've been writing a lot down. I'm going to be asking lots of questions because there's some things I was not sure about. A lot of people, a lot of our Nigerian people that have been asking me questions. This is when, once I ask this question, whenever someone calls me, I will be able to say this is the right way, and you can talk to our solicitor lawyer. So thank you very much, Mr. Kende Ayilaka. If anybody wants to know, Mr. Kende is the grace-free solicitor in Leeds. Is our community lawyer and solicitor. Whenever we, guiding us on how to do things legally, and if anybody have any issues, we will refer you to grace-free solicitor. And basically, remember that it's not free. I want to make that clear. It's not free. You might get a discount if you're a member of NYCA, and we've always done that. So thank you so much, sir. If you can stay behind for us. Before we move to our next guest, I'm going to play you a short video. And this is a video about the UK, where we are in the UK and etc. And just to let you know what is actually going on in terms of what the government is trying to do. And this is why we need to buckle up. We need to really buckle up.
estimated that net migration in the year to June 2021 to June 2022 was at 504,000. This is partly due to temporary and exceptional factors like the UK's Ukraine and Hong Kong schemes. Last year, over 200,000 Ukrainians and 150,000 Hong Kong BNOs made use of the routes to life or time in the United Kingdom. These command broad support from the British public. We were right to do so. The government introduced a points-based system in 2020 to regain control of our borders post-Brexit. We now need to decide who comes to the UK and to operate a system that can flex to the changing needs of the labour market, such as the skills needs of the NHS. But immigration is dynamic, and we must adapt to take account of changing behaviours and if there is evidence of abuse. The number of dependents arriving alongside international students has risen more than eightfold since 2019, from 16,000 in the year to December 2019 to 136,000 in the year ending December 2022. Dependents of students make a more limited contribution to the economy than students or those coming under the skilled worker route. But more fundamentally, our system wasn't designed for such large numbers of people to come here in this manner. Yesterday, we introduced a package of measures to help deliver our goal of reducing net migration. The package includes removing the right for international students to bring dependents unless they're on research postgraduate courses, and removing the ability for international students to switch out of the student route into work routes before their studies have been completed. This is the right and fair thing to do. It ensures that we protect our public services and housing supply against undue pressure, and we deliver on the promises that we've made to the public to reduce net migration. Our education institutions are world-renowned, and for good reason, and the government remains committed to the commitments in the international education strategy, including the goal of 600,000 international students coming to the United Kingdom each year. But universities should be in the education business, not the immigration business. We're taking concerted action to deliver a fair and effective immigration system that benefits our citizens, our businesses, and our economy. We're determined to get this right because it's demonstrably in the national interest.
Okay, so thank you very much. And the reason why I want is to run that video with everybody. The UK government is really clamping down on international student visa, and it's very, very important that we understand where the government is going. We need to be ahead of them. You know, as I said, for me, I've always said that we want our Nigerian family students to be in this country, but to be in this country, you need to plan yourself. If you leave Nigeria, you know, without any proper plan, you will end up here, you know, in a bad form. And this is when, after guest speaker number 2, I'm going to be coming in on Japa project to advise you on some of the things that we have to do. Whenever you're in this country, it's no joke, it's no play. Whenever you're here to study, you're here with your wife or husband or boyfriend or etc. or children, it is a serious matter, you know, because by the time you finish your student, you'll start looking for visa. A lot of people start thinking of, I'm going to claim asylum. Even trying to claim asylum from one visa to the other is difficult. And this is why we're running this program. We run this session every year. And this session is only a lot of people have so many questions. So again, I would like to play another video, which is just a short video, which I've put together. And just bear with me. I'm going to try and see, maybe I can find it. And from there, we will now be going to our next. It's a short video from. Just bear with us. I think it's just saying, it's just on about the same thing that we are trying to do in the UK. And I think this is from Arise TV, highlighting what's going on.
The United Kingdom has placed Nigeria on the red list of countries that should not be actively targeted for recruitment by health and social care employers. 52 other countries, including Bangladesh, Benin, Ghana, and Afghanistan, are on that list. In its updated Code of Practice for International Recruitment, the UK said Nigeria should not be actively targeted for recruitment by health and social care employers unless there is a government-to-government agreement. It comes 1 month after the World Health Organization listed Nigeria among the countries facing the most pressing health workforce challenges. It also comes as lawmakers in Nigeria move to stop the migration of doctors by proposing 5 years of mandatory service before they are granted a full license.
Okay, so that's just the short again. This is just to reiterate there's a lot of changes going on, and
have you been scammed? Did you lose £3,000 or more? We can help you get your money back. Tell CEL.
We can always understand how to live in this country. So there's a lot of changes going on. Whether you're a student, whether you're a family, whether you're claiming asylum seekers, we have to be ready. We have to buckle up. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to try and bring our next guest speaker, and that is my sister, and that's MS Olaide Awobila, a specialist in immigration law and family law matters, and she is based in Manchester. And you're welcome, Mrs. Olaide Awobila. Please come on board and come and introduce yourself, and please come on board. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. So please, can you put up the slides as agreed? Thank you. First and foremost, I want to thank God Almighty for this opportunity. I also want to thank the executives of Nigerian Yorkshire community. And I also want to thank you all for attending. My name is Olaide Awobila. I'm a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, and I'm also a solicitor here in the UK. My areas of expertise are immigration law and family law, but for the purpose of this seminar, I'll only be talking about immigration law. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of my learned senior and former employer, Mr. Ayileka of Gracefield Solicitors in Leeds. I honor you, sir. Please, can you change the slides, sir? Yes, to the next one. So I'll just read a quick disclaimer. The information I'll be sharing during this seminar does not constitute legal advice in any form, as legal advice can only be given based on individual circumstances. So the purpose of this seminar is to inform, enlighten, and educate you on the current rules under the immigration law. Next slide. Next slide, sir. So I'll be dealing with 4 popular immigration questions. Sorry, 5. Now, the first one is, what are the recent changes in immigration, the facts and the news? What are the alternatives to graduate visa, which is known as post-study? How can I bring a family member or non-family member to the UK? What I need to know about sponsor's license, COS, facts and pitfalls, visa extensions, renewals, popular problems and refusal. For example, working more than 20 hours during term time. Next slide. Now, because my learned senior has touched on a couple of things, I will just emphasize or elaborate more on some of the things that he has said. So now, there's been a lot of changes, like he said, under immigration law. Now, the ones that I have listed are as follows. There's been number one, there's been changes to salary requirements of some visas. For example, skilled workers visa, scale up, business visa, startup, innovators visa, and so on. Now, sometime in February, March, the Home Office made a couple of changes, almost 90 in all the immigration rules. But we note up until 3 weeks ago, there still be some changes being made. So my advice is that you need to be on the lookout for all these new changes. Now, I am happy for the organizers to share this slide with everybody. If you want a copy of this slide, I'm happy for you to ask from Mr. Jace to give it to you free, because the information are not mine. They are all from the Home Office website. So there's been increase in salary. For example, skilled workers visa is increased from 25,600 to 26,200. Where the salary threshold involves a PhD student, there's been increase from 23,040 pounds to 23,580. Sorry, can you please? I can't see the slides. There's something blocking it. Okay, thank you. Then in relation to the lower salary threshold, 20,000 to 20,960, then the minimum wage from £10.10 to £10.75. Now, there's also been some increase in salary for the senior workers and the graduate trainee from 42,000 to 45,800. Now, with regards to the business visas, there's been some major changes in terms of money, like the 50,000 requirement for the business visas has been removed. But however, you need to get some endorsement letter and from an authorized body before 13th of April 2023. That's for startup visa. Then the global talent, has increased from 42,400 to 45,800. Scale up has increased from 33,000 to 34,600. Now, another popular change is change of visa names. So Tier 2 General is now known as Skilled Workers Visa. Investor Visa Tier 1 is now known as Innovators Founders Visa. The UK Expansion Worker Visa was formerly known as Global Business Mobility. Now, there's been some new visas that have been introduced. Last year, they introduced Scale Up Visa, and this year, they introduced the Innovators Founders Visa. And in some visas, there's been some significant changes in their visa requirements. For example, the UK Expansion Workers Visa, formerly known as Global Mobility, there's been substantial changes in that. There's also been substantial changes in business visas, that is the startup and the Innovators Founders visas. There's been substantial changes in Global Talent Visa and Scale Up Visa. Now, there's also been an introduction in January when you can combine different visa routes towards your 5-year settlement. So in the past, if you switch from one visa route to another visa route, it counts towards your, like my learned senior said, it counts towards your 10 years settlement. But now from January, they've introduced some visas that you can combine and you still be on that 5 years route. So to know the particular visas you can combine, you need to refer to the Home Office guidance notes. But at the top of my head, I know you can combine the Minister of Religion visa with the Tier 2. Do you understand? And you still get your indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. But like I said, if you want to be sure whether, you can combine a particular visa with another one, that is, you want to change your route and you still want to be on the 5 years route, you need to speak to a solicitor or check the guidance notes. Now, there are some news, like my learned senior said, that has been announced, but there is no detailed guidance yet on how we're going to go about this. Is number one, which is that students will not be allowed to bring dependents except for PhD students. It is just news. It is important we understand the difference between news and facts. So news, there's no detailed guidance. It's just, speculations and what they plan to do. So you need to be on the lookout for when those rules come out. Then there's also in the news about scrapping the BRP cards. We've heard that they're going to scrap it December, some say January. So, but the Home Office has not given us detailed guidelines. Next slide. Next slide, please. So now we all know what the graduate visa known as. We need to go back, sir. We all know what the graduate visa known as, popularly known as post-study is. But I get asked a lot of questions. This is a very popular question, and that's why I made it number one. That what are the alternatives to this graduate visa, popularly known as post-study? And the reason is that, for example, a typical example, father, mother, and 2 children, their NHS surcharge fees plus their home office fees, do you understand, is about £12,000, right? So some people have said, rather than putting £12,000 into something that will not count towards the 5-year settlement, they'll rather put the 12,000 into something that will count towards their 5-year settlement. So that's the reason why some people don't want to move into the post-study. Do you understand? So there are some alternatives. If you don't want to move straight to the post-study, which is known as graduate visa, the first thing you could do is that you could extend your student visa. But however, they've introduced some cap. In this slides, you see the cap. There's a 2-year cap, 5-year cap, 6-year cap, and an 8-year cap. And the explanation is there. Next slide. Next slide, please. Then another alternative to switching to the graduate visa is that you could move to a short-term work visas. Now, those are a list of short-term work visas, but you need to understand that if you move to these short-term work visas, you have agreed that you're going to go back. So, but some people, they don't mind going back. They just need time just for work experience. If you're looking for something just to give you work experience, then you can consider the short-term work visas. Do you understand? But if your plan is to settle here in the long run, my advice is that you stay away from the short-term work visas. Next slide. Next slide, please. So now there are some other visas that you can switch into. Back. Please go back, sir. So there are some other visas that you can switch into. Do you understand? Like my learned senior said that without needing a job. Number one, the UK ancestry visa, which is quite popular. That is somebody in your lineage is a British national. Then the other ones are not really popular among our people, but the spouse or partner visa is popular. You can switch into that. Or parent of a British child, you can switch into that. But I'll talk more about that later on in the slide. Next slide. So now there are some long-term work visas that you can switch into if you do not want to switch into the graduate visa straight away. We've got a skilled workers visa, health and care workers visa, UK expansion, scale up, Minister of Religion tier 2, then international sportsman visa. Next slide. So with this skilled workers visa, you need to be able to meet the salary requirements of either the appropriate salary for your occupation or the minimum salary of 26,200 or £10.75. Remember, I've told you that they've increased the money. So next slide. Now, people ask me, what kind of jobs can I get, under the skilled workers visas? Now, I've gone to the Home Office website and I've gotten a couple of shortage occupation that you could do, because those ones are much easier to get into when there is a shortage rather than going for what everybody is going to. So I have listed a couple of jobs that I know that, you could do, that you could earn that kind of salary. Next slide. Next slide, please. Sorry, I can't see the top. Okay, this is the health and care workers visa. We all know about the health and care workers visa. That is, you getting a job in the health and care industry. Next slide. Because of time. Now, I have listed a couple of jobs and the job codes. Now, the reason why I've done this is because I've had instances where some people will come to me and say, oh, I've gotten a job, but my employer says they can't find my job code and things like that. Now, I'll use a very good example. One of the popular ones is I always use is someone that gives coronavirus injections. Now, if you go on the Home Office website, you would not find coronavirus, somebody employed as a coronavirus, whatever. Hello? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I think we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So when your employers tell you that, oh, we can't help you because we have checked your kind of job is not listed in the job code, what you need to do is to go on the Home Office website, check the job description of the listed jobs. Do you understand? Upon checking the job description, there are some roles that are similar to yours. Then all your employers have to do is to use that job code to apply for you and you'll be able to get a job. For example, the coronavirus, this is a real life situation. The lady was employed to be giving coronavirus injection under NHS. When you check the list, you will not find that job there. But if you check the job code for healthcare assistant, she does exactly the same as a healthcare assistant. So when the employers were going to help her, all she just had to do was to tell them that when applying, please can you use the job sort code of a healthcare assistant so she can now benefit from their sponsor's license. And when they're going to relate to the Home Office, they will let the Home Office know that she's employed as a healthcare assistant to be giving coronavirus injection. But like I said before, if you check the list, you will not find coronavirus. So always check the job description to see whether there are some jobs that are similar or almost the same thing as the kind of job that you are doing. So then you can benefit from the job subcode and your employer sponsors license. Do we all understand? Next slide.
I think they're going to have the time to ask questions if they need one.
Okay, next slide. So these are also a list of jobs that you could do. Now, another reason why I put the list of shortage occupation is that especially for the skilled worker, you'll be like, okay, but how will I get a job of 26,200? But the Home Office has also said you need to be paid the appropriate salary. For instance, for some of my clients that I have done, engineering, some of the engineering appropriate salary is not up to that 26,000. It is like 22,000, 23,000. So if you check, you can still apply. So always make sure you check two things. Check number one, the appropriate salary for the kind of job that you do. Then number two, your job description should match a similar job code that has been provided by the Home Office. Next slide, please. So UK mobility visa, that is, this allows you to come to the UK to set up a branch for an overseas business that has not started trading yet. And this visa replaced the intercompany transfer, previously known as Tier 2 intercompany transfer long term. So if you're already in UK, you're already a bit late for this one. But obviously, you need to be paid 45,800 for those that are abroad that are connecting with us. Next slide. Now, the scale-up visa, for those, a lot of IT students, not IT students, sorry, a lot of guys that are into IT have always had problems with the Home Office in the past when applying for visas, because the Home Office expects them to be employed rather than, working as self-employed. Now, that is the beauty of the scale-up visa. Now, with the scale-up visa, all you have to do is that you need to, first of all, get a job offer that will pay you, the 34,600. You only have to be with that employer for the first 6 months. After that 6 months, then you can now become self-employed. All right. But you have to stay that first 6 months, you have to stay with your employer. So for the IT guys that, it does not pay them to be employed by anybody. For instance, if they are employed, they can earn as low as £25,000 per annum. But if they are doing contract, they earn 500 to 1,000 pounds a day. Do you understand? So all you have to do is that you first of all make sure that whoever your employer is, you have to be with them on the scale of visa for the first 6 months. After 6 months, then you can now switch to self-employment. This also applies to those people that are like, can I not work for myself? I want to work for myself. I don't want to work for anybody. I can't find a COS. I don't have money to buy COS. It is something that you may need to consider, the scale of visa. Next slide. This is for Minister of Religion. I can't see the top. I don't know why it's cutting off the top. You must be offered a job within the faith community. You must have enough money to maintain yourself and all that. So this is for those that have the calling of God on their life. You can switch to Minister of Religion. People ask me which churches have the sponsors license. At the top of my head, I know churches like Redeem, a lot of Redeem churches, they have sponsors license. They can help you with the Minister of Religion visa. Christ Embassy, Winners, I know Celestial Church of God. At the top of my head, I know those ones, they have, so most of them have the sponsor's license. But however, most churches have additional requirements. So don't just say, oh, I'm a member of Christ Embassy. I tried to apply for the Minister of Religion. The pastor said no. Some of them expect you to be maybe members of the church for 5 years before you can benefit from it or everything. So each church has their own additional requirements. But if your church has a sponsor's license and you have the calling of God on your life, you can consider switching to the Minister of Religion visa. Next slide, sir. For the Muslims in our midst, unfortunately, and I'm not going to lie, maybe my learned senior, Mr. Ileka, has applied for sponsor's license for a mosque before. I have never done it before because somebody has asked me, what about for Muslims? So it is something that your mosque may want to consider. Will still help you because what they've said is Minister of Religion. They didn't say specifically for Christians. So if your mosque is able to if you have the calling of God on your life, as a minister of religion, as a Muslim, you will need to speak to your mosque. But like I said, I have never done for a mosque before, but maybe my learned senior, Mr. Aileka, has done something like that. Then this international sportsman visa, this is not really popular amongst our people. You must have this like an exceptional quality in sport. Sorry?
Yeah, please go ahead. It's just someone coming in.
Okay. Yes, so you must have, can you please remove the box, sir? Anyway, then you must have a certificate of sponsorship for your job, meet the English language requirement. But like I said, since I've been called practicing, it is only one person I have done it for. It's not popular amongst our people, but it's something that it is there if you think you meet the requirements. Next slide, sir. So then these are business visas. Another thing you could do, there are some people that tell me, oh, I don't want to work for anybody. I want to do business. Do you understand? There are business visas that you can switch into. Like I said, they've changed the name. There's a new visa called Innovators Founders Visa. There's Startup Visa and there's Global Talent. Next line. Next slide, please. The next one. Now, the reason why I told him to skip that is because both of them have similar requirements. But the difference between the two is that the startup visa will give you 2 years, but you cannot extend, and it does not lead to settlement. After the 2 years, you need to switch to another visa category. Meanwhile, the innovators visa will give you 3 years, and your visa can be extended for another 3 years, which leads towards the 5-year settlement route. And like I said, the beauty about this visa, because a lot of people are looking into it now, is that they've removed the 50,000 requirements. So all you have to do is just to make sure you have that 1,270. But however, when I was going through it, I noticed that they've now said that your business has to be part of an eligible set. The Home Office has listed kind of eligible businesses So you need to be sure that your business, whatever business you're going to do, is in that range, right? And all you have to demonstrate is 1,270. The 50,000 requirement has been removed on both business visas. Next slide. Next slide, please. So now the global talent, this is another popular one for those that are in the IT industries, but there's been so many changes. In fact, in April, they kept changing and changing and changing it. Do you understand? But you need to prove that you have won an eligible award, that you're a leader or you have potential leader in one of the fields covered by this visa. This is also getting an endorsement. You must be able to switch to the global talent within 3 months of getting the endorsement, and your visa will be extended up to 5 years. Now, some they give them the 5 years straight away, some they'll give you 3 years, then they put you on a 5 years route. But as I said, there's been various changes coming into effect since that 12th of April. Next slide. Now, this is spouse visa. I don't know why the thing is cutting it, but yeah, but spouse visa, in the past, when students come in, what people do is that before they finish their masters, they will target a British citizen, marry the British citizen, and switch to the spouse visa. But now they have introduced a 2 years living together requirement. So when you come in as a master student, you can't just become a dependent of a British national by way of being their spouse. You need to show evidence of being married or being together for 2 years. All right. And this also applies to unmarried partners. Say you are living with your boyfriend, or you are gay, you're a lesbian. You need to show evidence of being together for at least 2 years, not just dating. Do you understand? That is the new requirement. And the reason why they introduced this was because there's something people call arranged marriage. Do you understand? Arranged marriage. So to try and minimize that, because like I said before, all you have to do is just to be able to show that you are married to the person. Do you understand? But now you need to be able to show evidence of being together for at least 2 years. But however, if you do not meet this requirement, you may still be able to apply for this visa and extend your permission to stay. If you can demonstrate that you have a child in the UK who is a British or Irish citizen who has lived in the UK period for 7 years, and it's unreasonable for them to leave the UK. Do you understand? Or that it will be it will impose significant difficulties on you and your partner that you will not be able to overcome if you do not live together as a couple inside the UK. I will not talk too much about that, but my learned senior has already, dealt with that in his session. Now, parents of a British national. Now, if you are in a relationship, you don't have to be married to that person. But as long as you have a child for a British national, you can apply and switch to this visa. Sorry about that. It's because I'm using my phone. Parent of a British national, you need to be able to, one of the parents has to be a British national. So if your child is a British citizen, you can switch from your student visa into this visa, where you'll be granted leave to remain on a 5-year route if you have a valid leave to remain. If you do not have a valid leave to remain, you will be put on a 10-year route. Next slide. So how can I bring my family to the UK? So there's a popular one called fiance visa. For instance, if you have your boyfriend or your girlfriend back home, do you understand? They'll be able to give your boyfriend or girlfriend a fiance visa where they'll be allowed to stay in the UK for 6 months, and afterwards they can get married to you. But you need to understand the problem with this visa, which people don't know, is that you need to be able to demonstrate throughout that 6 months, that person will not be able to work or claim recourse or not have recourse to public funds. So in clear terms, that 6 months, you will feed the person, you will house the person, you will give the person money, but the person will be able to marry you, and the person will be able to switch to your visa once you have your indefinite leave to remain. That's just the downside of the fiancé visa, because the other person is not allowed to work. Next slide. Then your spouse, I've already talked about that. But however, if you want to become a dependent of a British national by way of being their spouse, they need to show evidence of earning 18,006, right? And if it's a child, additional 3,800 for each child, and 2,400 for each additional child. And like I said before, you need to be able to show evidence of living together for at least 2 years, not just dating. Now, some people ask me, do I have to do DNA to prove that I am the father of my child? Now, you don't have to do the DNA, but it is advisory that you do the DNA. It is not compulsory that you do the DNA to prove that you are the parent of the child. But we always recommend that it is in your best interest to just do the DNA, so to eradicate any form of doubt. All right. And some people ask me, they were like, oh, I know a friend, the person's child is over 18, right? And the person was still giving dependent visa. Now, if you have a child that is over 18, and it is true, yes, your child can still be your dependent, right? But you need to demonstrate that your child has not formed an independent life. So say, for instance, your child is still in school, but it is easier if that child was already your dependent, on a visa route, you're dependent on a visa route before they turned 18. But you just picking them over 18, it's not going to be a straightforward application. Next slide. I can't see the top, but I think that is for a parent of a Brit. If you want to bring your parents. Now, you can invite your parents on a visiting visa. You can invite anybody on a visiting visa. But if you want your parents to be your dependent, you must be a British citizen or have indefinite leave to remain. You must meet the financial requirements, and your parents must need you for their day-to-day care. That is, they have a long-term care problem that you are the only person that can, take care of them. Do you understand? Now, people tell me that, oh, but my parents are all right. I'm not praying for them to be sick. So that means I can't make my parents my dependents, but I want my parents to come. Now, the best way to deal with this issue, if you want your parents to come in, is via the visitor's visa route. Now, the law did not say, okay, I'll use Nigeria as a case study. In Nigeria, we have 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years visiting visa. My advice to people is always avoid the 6 months visiting visa. I know it is cheaper. Do you understand? I know it is the cheapest visa, but it's not really the best, because most people that get refusals, they get it on the basis of the 6 months visa. Now, when you apply for 6 months visa for your mom, and you say she's going to stay for 3 months, the truth is that the Home Office is likely, I'm not saying they will, it's likely to refuse that application, because from different visa refusals, they will say, okay, my mom is employed. There is no employer that will give your mom 3 months holiday. And let us be honest with ourselves. That is the truth. No employer will give your mom 3 months holiday unless it's going to be unpaid. Some will say, oh, my mom runs a business, and the Home Office will still refuse that visa. Now, the Home Office will say, there is no business you will leave for 3 months, and that business will still be functioning well. Or if you run a business effectively, there's no way you will leave your business for 3 months, and the business will still work effectively. So that is one of the reasons why I always recommend that. Always avoid that 6 months visa and go for the multiple entry ones. Now, when you go for the multiple entry ones, as long as your mom or your dad does not stay up to 6 months at a time, they have not broken the immigration rules. Do you understand? You can just tell them, oh, I want them to be visiting me and all that. Once it's almost 6 months, the law says they have to leave the country. Now, the law did not say they have to go back to Nigeria. The law just said they should not use more than 6 months at a time. So the way around it, if you want your parents to stay with you for long, is that once it's almost 6 months, people always move their parents to all these EU countries, like say France. or Ireland. I've not been to Ireland of recent, but before COVID, return ticket to Ireland was £50. Or if you want to buy it on the spot, like £80. So if you buy return ticket to Ireland or to Spain or to all these EU countries, that is less than £100 plus the hotel, I don't think you will spend more than 200 or 300. Do you understand? And you have not broken the immigration rules, and your mom can come back. And that's why you see a lot of people. Do you understand? They will say, oh, their mom, from after staying with them for a while, they went to America, they went to Germany. Do you understand? So, and they can still come back in. And it is possible that even though your parents have either a 2 years or a 5 years visa, that your parents will go around and they will not return to Nigeria within that period. So that's the only way around it. I know it is hard. We are not praying for our parents to be sick. I know it is hard that they cannot demonstrate that there's nobody else except you. Do you understand? But the only way you can manage it is through the multiple entry visas. So once it's getting to 6 months, they leave. And there are cheaper places they can leave to without having to return to Nigeria. Last month, I checked tickets to Nigeria in August because I was thinking of going before I canceled that idea. Ticket to Nigeria, when I checked last month, was around 1,006. Meanwhile, you won't spend up to that if your mom goes on holiday to Spain, even you put her in 5-star hotel. I don't think you will spend up to even £300 or £400. I hope you understand that. Then people also ask me, I have non-family members like my brother, my auntie, I want to bring them. How can I bring them? The only way you can bring them is through visiting. In the past, when we were part of the EU, right, people could squeeze them under one thing or the other. But under the current rules, the only way you can bring a family member is through the visiting. Let them come and visit you and go back, or let them become their sponsor of their student visa. But in exceptional circumstances, sorry, I'm at a party, I stood away, please. I'm really sorry about that. So, but in exceptional circumstances, sometimes the Home Office may allow you to bring a family member, but most likely the application is going to be refused. So for on a safe mode, it is best you just stick to the visiting visa route, invite them, drop your account to invite them and all that. Next slide. Next slide, please. Now, what you need to know about applying for sponsor's license. Please, can you go back, sir? Can you go back, sir? Please, can you? Okay, yes. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about this sponsor's license. I'll just summarize it. And the reason why I'm summarizing it is because of time. And also, I want to deal with the main issues and the main problems our people are facing. Now, to a layman is anybody that is not learned, that is, you are not a lawyer. Most people say, oh, what I need is a sponsor's license. But actually, the sponsor's license is in two parts. The actual sponsor's license and what you need, what you are calling sponsor's license, is called the COS, Certificates of Sponsorship. Now, the sponsor's license, anybody can apply for sponsor's license. The requirement for a sponsor's license is that you must have a registered business, you do not have any criminal record, and you have not been refused before. If you meet those requirements, you'll get a sponsor's license. But the COS is the one that you need, which will enable your employer to be able to give you a visa to work in the UK. Now, with the COS, there are so many other requirements that the Home Office will look at. But the main one is the money. Now, depending on the profit that was declared by the company that wants to sponsor you, that would determine whether your COS will be approved or not. For instance, some people will tell me, but my employer has sponsor's license and the Home Office does not want to give them COS. Now, what you need to do is to find out how much they declared as profits. If their profit was 30,000 and they applied for 10 COS, the Home Office will not give them 10 COS. The Home Office will only give them one if you are like a care worker. Do you understand? So if your employer, the profit they declared the previous year is £5,000, do you understand? And they apply to the Home Office for COS, the truth is that the Home Office is the Home Office is going to refuse to grant the COS because the profit that was declared is not enough to pay your salary. So it is always very important for you to understand that money issue is very important. There are some other parts of, getting the COS, but this is one of the most crucial ones. The refusals that we've seen, they will be like, okay, we acknowledge that this company has a sponsor's license and they declared so as profit. However, the profit is unable to pay your salary. Another typical example, this is a real life situation. They were 10, the office told them, oh, go and look for a lawyer, we have sponsor's license, we'll apply for COS. Now, when this lady came, I was like, I don't want you to give me a bad name. Let's start with consultation to be sure that your company can actually give you COS. Do you understand? That's why it is very important you pay for consultation. Some of you don't like paying for consultation, but consultation will save you a lot of wasting of money, because applying for COS and sponsor's license, you may spend up to like £5,000. Do you understand? Or more. But £100 or £200 consultation will save you wasting that 5,000. So when I started with the lady with consultation, I told her to go and said, okay, you attend that your office said you should contribute. Fine, I accept. Go and ask your HR how much is the profit declared, because the profit declared will determine whether they will grant your office 10 COS. So she said that the office said that they did not declare any profits. So you can just imagine if they've already paid us and we've applied and the application was refused. People will not tell you that they did not have enough money to pay the salary. They will say the lawyer is not good. But that is the real issue, why some people, when they apply for COS and it is not granted. And when people tell you, oh, we've applied to the Home Office, we've not heard from the Home Office, it could be that. So the money is very, very important. Some people ask me, oh, I can't just go and meet my HR and say, how much was your profit last year? There are ways around it. You will tell them it's just about communication. You tell them that, okay, I know you've got sponsor's license, but I was told by my solicitor that in order for you to be able to issue COS for me, your profits must be able to cover my salary. Can you confirm that the profit declared last year can cover my salary? There is a yes or no answer. They will tell you, oh, yes, our profit can cover it. Then you know that when they apply, it's worth investing. When they apply for the COS, you are likely going to get the COS. I hope you understand now. There's a difference between sponsor's license and the COS. It is the COS that you need to be able to get your visa, and it is dependent on the salary. And there are some people, they will say, oh, my employer, they are very wicked. I told them to help me with the COS. They refuse to help. It's not as if maybe they are being wicked. It's just that the profit they've declared is not enough to pay your salary. So, and they don't want to start wasting. They spend 5,000 on solicitor, spend almost 5,000 on Home Office. At the end of the day, they are not going to get the COS. And it's because most people in UK, they don't like declaring loads of profits because you pay tax on the profits. The tax is 20 or 25%. So that's why a lot of people build up their expenses. I hope I've communicated. So it is important you understand that money part. There are some other parts too that the Home Office will look at, but that is the main one. So when people are telling you, we have sponsor's license, the Home Office refused to give us COS. And for those of you that have businesses, some people tell me, oh, I want to get 10 doctors. How much did you declare last year? I declared 5,000 or I declared 30,000. There's no way they will give you COS for 10 doctors. And some people say, I can't waste 7,000 or 8,000 only on one COS. So some people will not bother about it. Do you understand? So it is very important we understand that. Next slide. So now, a reason, this is part of, the heading is reason why a lot of visas are being refused. Number one, not meeting the requirements of the visa. This one is popular among we Christians. I am a Christian as well. I believe in God and I believe in faith. Do you understand? So some people will say, oh, they are using faith. Faith, don't get me wrong, there's nothing God cannot do. There are instances that God has given people visas, even though they don't meet the requirements. But in clear terms, if you don't meet the requirements of a visa, right, try and either look for another visa to switch into, or try and make sure you meet the requirements before applying. If not, it is a refusal. Say, for instance, you earn 15,000, right? And to bring your dependent, you need to earn 18,006. It is only common sense for you to just look for a second job to meet the 18,006. Or you go to a lawyer, right? We go through the guidance notes. We look for the exceptions when you don't earn the 18,006 and help you check, okay, the exceptions to not any 18,006 to bring your dependents is, one of the exceptions is being a registered disabled. Are you a registered disabled? We'll help you explore all those things before you waste money. Another reason for refusal is using wrong forms. Another popular reason for refusals is working more than 20 hours during school term. Now, a lot of people, this is a popular mistake among our people. Some people, they'll say, oh, my employer gave me money by cash. So they told me that there's no way the Home Office will not find out. Now, the truth is that the money that your employer has paid you is not free money. Your employer has to give account to that money. They only paid you cash because it was convenient. They are going to pay tax on it. As long as any employer has your NI details, right? Whatever money, whether they pay you cash or anything, the Home Office will find out. So my advice is that don't work more than 20 hours during term time. It is true there are some jobs that you do that is cash at hand, right? That the Home Office will not find out. Any job they are going to do cash at hand that the Home Office will not find out is the job that they do not have your NI details. As long as you are registered with the agency, they have your NI details. If they pay you cash, they only paid you cash out of convenience. It is going to reflect on your NI. So, but there are some other jobs that you can do that is cash at hand, that even if you make £1 million, the Home Office will not find out. Things like making hair. If you want to make hair or cut hair, they will not ask you for your NI. Cooking food, selling food, anything that will not be linked to your NI. Do you understand? And you get cash for it. It is true that kind of money would not reflect. But however, there was a seminar that I was on that they invited a guy that deals with tax. The guy used to work with Home Office. The guy told us, it's a shame that the person from Home Office is not here now because I was looking forward to it. We were told during that seminar that what the Home Office does is that it's not only the NI they look at, they also look at the bank accounts. So if they put in your NI, there are some bank accounts that have been associated with that NI. They will look at all those bank accounts. They will look at your annual income. So for each job, say they expect that, okay, if you're a student and you were doing care work, they have a salary range. The salary range should be maybe 12 to 15,000. That is, if you do 20 hours during school term and unlimited hours when school is not in term. So when they look at your NI, even though your employer tells them that, oh, she only worked 20 hours, and they say, okay, for that kind of job, it's 12 to 15,000, and your NI reflects 40,000, they will know that you and your employer are telling lies. So that way, what the Home Office will do is that they will refuse. And that's what the Home Office was doing before. But I don't know whether you guys have been hearing now. What the Home Office has now been doing, which I feel is a bit unfair, is that they will allow the person to switch to another visa first, like maybe health and care or graduate visa. After you have switched to another visa, then the Home Office will now write them and say they want to curtail their new visa, because when they did when they went through your details, they realized that you worked more than 20 hours. So they will ask you to leave the country. That's what they've been doing now. But in the past, what they will do is that when you want to switch to another visa, they'll carry out that check. Once they realize you've done it, they may refuse your visa application. The late preparation of visa application and renewals. Some people, it is a day before their visa. 2 weeks ago, I still had that scenario where somebody called me a day before their visa expired and was asking what's up. There are some things that would have changed. Do you understand? Don't leave things till last minute. start preparing at least 6 months before your visa expires. Some people tell me, oh, I don't plan to stay. If you don't plan to stay, still act like you plan to stay, because things may happen. Maybe shortly before you finish your course, you may get a fantastic job offer. Do you understand? Then you may now need to stay. Things may happen. So always plan at least 6 months before your visa expires. Then you also need to seek legal advice before preparing your applying for your visa. Now, some people say, I don't have money for a lawyer. I've already that 12,000. It is a job plus credit card plus borrowed money. Where will I get money to pay a lawyer? What if what you are doing is wrong? That's why it is always important to seek legal advice. There is legal representation and there is legal advice. And we solicitors, we're always very flexible with our billing. I am sure Mr. Ayileka too is flexible with his billing. Like I said before, I've worked with Mr. Ayileka before when I was living in Leeds, right? So the money we will charge you for going through the application you have filled is cheaper than we making the application from start. So it might be worthwhile investing in that if you can't afford for us to make the application from the beginning. Do you understand? Always seek legal advice. Don't just jump into conclusion. Then not proving your case beyond reasonable doubt. I've dealt with that when I was talking about not meeting the visa requirements. Not disclosing material information. For example, intentionally misleading the Home Office, like lying on visa applications. A popular one is, have you ever been refused any visa before? You say no. And they've refused you when you applied for America. Another popular one is building of accounts. In Nigeria, it is a normal thing. We call it helping each other. We build accounts. But when it comes to the Home Office, it is fraud. Do you understand? You are intentionally misleading the Home Office. And if the Home Office has evidence to prove that this account is not your own, you either pay the loan company to put the money in your account or you merge your account with another person. Do you understand? The Home Office will refuse your visa application and it may even attract a 10-year ban. Next slide. Consequences of breaking immigration rules: deportation, imprisonment, penalty or fine, 10-year ban. Like I said, that 10-year ban, at least I've been practicing for a while. The Home Office has never waived that 10-year ban. You must fulfill that 10-year ban. I've never seen when they removed the 10-year ban before. Maybe Mr. Ayileka has, I don't know, but I have not come across it. And I know a lot of people, they have not been successful. So always avoid the 10-year ban. Anything that will attract a 10-year ban. It is better for them to refuse your application than for you to attract a 10-year ban. Refusing application, maybe because you do not meet the requirement, that one is still understandable. The worst case scenario, you apply for another type of visa, or you go and prepare better before submitting your application. But when you now have a 10-year ban, that means you can't even apply. No matter the application you make, let Queen's Counsel do the application. They will refuse it. You have to fulfill that 10 years. Next slide. I think that's the end. Next slide.
I think that's the end.
Yes. So if you need any more information, like I said, if you need a copy of this slide, I am more than happy for Mr. Kolawole to give it to you for free. I'm giving it to you for free because all the information, they are on the Home Office website. I only just collated the ones that are relevant to us Nigerians, and I put it in a slide. That is why I am giving it to you free if you want it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for our sister, and that's Olamide Agubela. And please, this is a very, very powerful presentation. Even a lecturer cannot do what you have done today. And I'd like to say on behalf of the Nigerian Yorkshire Community Group, all our stakeholders, thank you so much. Every year you always come out very well. Your presentation is solid. And at the end of the day, I can only thank you for supporting us on a yearly basis. And then for those people that don't know where you live or where you're based, please, if you can explain to them, because I don't think some people don't know, maybe you're in Yorkshire or something like that.
Yes, I'm in Manchester, sir. I live in Manchester. So I have clients all over the world. But if you live in the Leeds environs, my learned senior is there, Mr. Ayileka, and we have a good relationship. myself and Mr. Ileka have a good relationship. Like I said, I used to work for him before I moved to Manchester.
Thank you so much. And, for everybody, I want everybody to take note of these are our two guests, Mr. Kende Ilaka, Graceful Solicitor, and our Sister Olaide Awubele. You know, they're always supporting us on immigration matter. Immigration matters to you and your family. If you're taking it lightly, and you can see, I don't need to say anything. She has said it there. You know, if you don't have a plan for yourself, for your family, and you think that you can just come to UK, they don't give money, they don't give bribes in UK. If you don't follow the procedure, some people will end up leaving. Some people, they will end up to tell you they should. And if you're staying illegally in this country or working illegally, you will be prosecuted. It's as simple as that. So we have to make that clear to a lot of people. So this is why this session is always useful to everybody. You know, and again, once again, I would like to say a very huge thank you to all our guest speakers. You know, I've written so much down, so much that I don't know even where to start from, and I've learned so much from your presentation. So what I'm going to do before we move to the next one, if you need a copy of our guest speaker, you know, guest speaker 2, and that is MS Awubila. Please, I will be putting the email address on there. You just have to send me an email to our email address, and basically we will definitely send it to you. And you know, at the end of the day, free. You know, and you know, all those things. You know, when someone goes on is an immigration expert. I don't know, maybe people have been to the Home Office website. If you have been to the Home Office website, you will definitely know that it's so confusing, it's so piled up. And, you know, for our sister to go there and narrow it down, you know, it's one of those things that we have to thank so much, you know. The immigration, that's the immigration slides that she's going to be giving to people if you want. So all I will say is that please, I'm just putting it on there. Please send us an email and to nycn.org.uk. So I think I got it right. So if you need a copy of our guest speaker 2, immigration slides, MS Olaide Awubila, solicitor, please, all you need to do is basically send us an email, and I put it there. That's our email address, admin@nycn.org.uk. We will send you a copy as soon as possible. So it's very important. We don't want you to, well, the criteria for that, which I believe my sister will support, we don't want you to collect the slide and start selling it. If you sell it, if you get caught, we will prosecute you. And I know that she will prosecute you. So you cannot sell that slide because we're giving it to you for you to have a copy. And thank you so much. Thank you so much again to all our 2 guest speakers. Unfortunately, the Home Office sent me an email that they were not able to come because they have other assignments. And we normally have the Home Office. You know, this is why we have our immigration lawyer on one side, the Home Office, so that both of them are on each side. And it was very interesting. And today is as much so very interesting. So I would like to say thank you very much to again Mr. Kenya Yelaka, Principal Solicitor, Graceful Solicitor, MS Olaide Awubila, specialist in immigration law and family law, based, as she has said, and Mr. Yelaka said, it's very simple. You know, in this country, don't think that you can just go there. If you know that you need a consultation, you know, you can always contact them. Even if you say you're from the Nigerian Yorkshire community, they can do you a discount. They can do you a very good price. But, you know, you have to, again, planning for your family, planning for yourself. You know, there is so much in that slide, which I actually need a copy because I need to know what is applies. And I've never heard of the new innovator. That is a new thing when you're talking about business. So there's so many ways you can stay in this country. You just have to understand the ways. And these are our immigration experts who break it down for you. Some people will come to me. Yesterday, I learned something now, and I'm going to be asking the question. I think we should move to the QA session. It's better. We should move to the QA session. I don't know, maybe Mr. Yelaka is still here. Mr. Yelaka, and are you still there? Because we're going to be asking questions. I'm going to be asking the first question. Thank you. I'm going to be asking the first question because, and so that if you need to ask any question, anybody, please use the Zoom to raise your hand. Use the Zoom to raise your hand so that I can call upon you at the end of the day. I'm going to raise my hand first, so
Mr.
you can. I'll be calling upon you. So my first
Mr. Kolawole, sir. Because there is seniority at the bar, respectfully, Mr. Ayileka will have to answer all the questions.
Yeah,
because he's my learned senior. But I'll be here. I'll still be here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. And it's just basically that, you know, everybody can direct their questions. I'm going to be directing my question to both of you, and thank you. The first question I'm going to ask Mr. Ayileka and Mrs. Awubile. You talked about, I've had this question from Nigerian members, the graduate visa, the tier 2 visa, and etc. Now, someone has told me that if they use the tier 2 visa and the graduate visa, does that count as part of the settlement years for them if they have families? So let's, for example, I think there was one of my Igbo sister yesterday, we were talking, she was talking about the student visa, the graduate visa, does it count towards settlement in the UK because they have children and etc.?
Thank you. I think I mentioned that about the graduate visa. Now, there are two different things. The what you call tier 2 visa is now called the skilled worker visa, right? It's a route on its own. You settled in the UK after 5 years on that visa, all right? So that is on any part of tier 2 visa or any part of a skilled worker visa. That is where you get certificate of sponsorship from the employer. Once you've been with the employer for 5 years, you'll be able to apply for indefinite leave to remain. Now, the graduate visa is a visa you apply for after you finish your studies, right? So it's a one-off visa. After you finish your studies, you want to stay back, you don't have a job, you don't have any other thing to do, that is a visa you could fall back on. Oh, I've just completed my studies, you apply for the graduate visa. Right? You don't need to show offer of employment. Once you are able to show evidence that you have successfully completed your studies, they will give you 2 years on the graduate visa. Right? The problem with the visa is the 2 years is for you to find out whatever you want to do. If you want to roam around the streets in the UK, play around, at the end of the 2 years, you go back home, or you find an employment before the end of the 2 years. But you cannot extend the graduate visa thing. However, so that's what I mean, it does not lead to settlement. That visa route does not lead to settlement. Whereas the tier 2 visa or the skilled worker visa does lead to settlement. However, if you have been in the UK, even before you apply for a student visa, maybe you have been in the UK as a visitor, you went back home, spent less than 6 months, and come back as a student. Maybe you spent 5 years as a student, and then you apply for the graduate visa, right? At the end of the graduate visa, you can count the number of months you spend in the UK as a student, as a visitor, so maybe 5 months. You spend 5 years as a student, that's 5 months, 5 years, 5 months. You spent 2 years on the graduate visa, that's 7 years. So you count it. So the 2 years you spent on the graduate visa counts towards the 10-year lawful residence. So it's counted as lawful residence in the UK. So that is the only way it works. However, for the graduate visa, if you are in the UK alone without dependents, all right, you will need to bring in your dependents before you apply for the graduate visa. If your dependents are not part of your student visa, they are not under your student visa, you cannot add them to the graduate visa. So that is the difference, unless they are part of your student visa. Otherwise, you apply for your graduate visa alone, right? Did that answer the question?
I think that does.
And Lady can add to it if I have omitted anything, please.
Yeah, I think that it's really go on. It's really very complicated because you know, we get lots of. Remember that the baseline of most of our Nigerian students, they always give us a question, this and that. How can they stay in this country? Because now they can't even get a sponsor visa. Some people have gotten 3-year visa or 5-year visa from Nigeria, and they've been in this country for 6 months. They can't even get a job. Now, for students that is just finishing, now they're planning to go to graduate. They have a family. Now, okay, asking a question in turn, what is the advice in them to secure their stay after their 2-year graduate visa in the UK with their family? Because what it is that we are trying to look for an option for our Nigerian students or family that are here. If they do tier 2, if they do their master's or PhD, they now do the graduate visa. Is there any advice of the way they can settle their family in this in the UK rather than going back to Nigeria? And that's why I'm trying to have a very simplified understanding, because I get this question every day, but at times I don't know what to say. So I will be happy for you, our experts, to be able to see what is the best way for we to tell them that, okay, this is the best way, but we will refer them to you as well.
Okay, sorry, let me just add to that. I think I forgot to mention something before. Now, you see, what things that involve Nigeria somewhat gets complicated, right? There is a tendency that when we have opportunities, maybe Africans, not just Africans, people, when we have opportunities, we tend to abuse it and take advantage of people we know that are desperate. Now, you will probably note now of recent, all this, you now have agents, right, seeking and promising prospective workers that, oh, we can apply, we can get a COS for you. Now, I'll be receiving calls from clients or potential clients asking me, do I help people do I have a package for tier 2 work, for skilled worker work, to apply for COS? What is my package? How much do I take? What do you mean by package? I don't help anybody package any application. I don't, right? Once you have your certificate of sponsorship for your employer, I don't help you to look for employment. No, I don't. You have your certificate of sponsorship, I can help you make your application to the Home Office. So there is nothing like package. Now, what happens now is, if you must be aware of it, we have agents all over promising to secure certificate of sponsorship, COS, for prospective employees from Nigeria, from all over the world. They say, oh, if you pay £10,000, £15,000, £7,000, £8,000, we'll get you a COS. And now they're going to get that. Some, maybe they work with some care homes or some employers, right? Some may be successful. They will really find them real jobs, genuine jobs. But what I've come across now mostly is, because they see that as a way of making money, some agents have come up to say, oh, make promises to people in Nigeria, right? I've had incidents because I have this. Currently, we are working on how can we help people recover this money. Somebody said he thought he was dealing with agents here, genuine agents. He told us, all our friends in Nigeria, oh, we have this, we have that. They are all contributing £7,000. Some sold their cars, some sold houses in order to raise £7,000, right? And they gave them to agents in this place. And then thereafter is stories after stories. Oh, I paid this to this company. We are just waiting for the Home Office to approve the COS. We are just waiting this. It's a lie. Some, when they succeeded in getting a COS, the worker will get to the UK. There is no job. And they just tell him, please, you better go and find a job, right? If you find a real employer to employ you, bring the money they pay you, and then we use it to pay you, all right? So that we issue your salary and pay you. That's the only way you can renew your salary. So when they were applying, and that is fraudulent, and the Home Office must not even know that the employee has paid to get this job. But when you are applying for the COS from the Home Office, you are telling the Home Office that we are going to employ this person. There is a job, that's a genuine vacancy for which you require this person. And then the Home Office issued you with a certificate of sponsorship. And then, yes, the person gets in, there is no job. So, of course, Home Office now, they are becoming aware of all this because there's no way you can keep all these secrets for a long time. So Home Office is aware of this now, and they've started revoking licenses for employers involved. So what I would advise are people who feel they are desperate. If anybody is telling you, come and pay £10,000, I will get you a COS, begin to know that this is fraudulent, right? It means you want to get a COS fraudulently because you should know that you are not required to pay money. An employer wants you. The employer should be footing all the bills, not you. There's no way an employer who wants to recruit you should be asking you to pay money before he gets you a certificate of sponsorship. All right. So it's backfiring now, to be honest with you. And I don't think, and I won't advise anybody to go into it. So yes, you finish your studies. Of course, the Home Office is already aware that not all the people that come here as students are really here to study. They just use it as a stepping stone to enter the UK. The ultimate goal is to be able to settle here. All right. So because of it, when you look at it, the Home Office, what they want is they want those who are coming here to be productive, right? If you listen to what the clip you played to us, the students are productive, but their dependents are not that productive. A student will come here, maybe 4 children and a wife, 5 dependents, all right? Increase the population for the schools, right? And so hardly will you find any Nigerian student that will be here without dependents, right? So it's because of, to be honest, I think it's because of Africans and Nigerians. If you look at the statistics, dependents in Nigeria who come here from Nigeria are more than those who come here from other countries. If, of course, there's no way they can do it, they will have allowed only the Chinese to come here with their dependents because they have few dependents. All right. So they are just finding a way of trying to see, because they have this policy which they want to implement, they want to reduce net migration. All right. So if our people who are here, if they can find a way of course, because they have there is this innovation route now, all right? You need to have ideas what you can do that's going to be different from what others have offered before, all right? And for those who are here, maybe young graduates, you don't have any commitment in Nigeria, no boyfriend, no girlfriend in Nigeria, all right? You are here on your own. And then maybe you stand a chance after your studies and you are old enough to get married. Then you look for a partner here, right? And switch to family visa. Yeah, that's the way I see it. If you cannot get employment, yeah, you switch to a family visa. All right. But the skilled worker visa looks like the easiest way. All right. But from all indication, it's being abused now. So I really don't know. But what you need to know again is to be technically, if you apply to come to the UK as a student, You know that's a temporary route. You are being given visa as a student. The promise is that you will go back at the end of your studies. All right. So why is it now that people don't want to go back or people cannot go back? All right. So I think ultimately people should be getting prepared. Okay, if I find my level in the UK, I have a way of staying back lawfully. Yeah, I'll try and stay back. Otherwise, they should be prepared to go back to Nigeria. That is the way I see it. Yeah. I don't know, Lide may have something to add.
No, sir. You've spoken well, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm enjoying this session, to be honest. This session does not end. Because you see, what we're getting here is what you will never get. I have to be very honest with you. I don't think that you go to any solicitor and that solicitor will give you, we've been on this session and we started like 3 or 3:15. We're going, this is 4 minutes past 5. We're still going through questions. These are why we said the quality of what we do in the Nigerian Yorkshire in partnership with our solicitor, Mr. Yilak and Ms. Olaide, thank you so much for that. So, sorry, I'm going to go back to that question again. What, are you saying that, okay, we do not have anything that is called student tier 2 visa anymore? There is no student tier 2 visa, so that if people are coming from Nigeria to come and do masters or PhD, what visa do they get? Do they still get student visa or they get skilled worker visa?
No, the student visa is called a student visa. It's still a student visa. That's tier 4. You are talking of tier 4 student visa.
Oh, sorry, tier 4, yes.
Yes, there is still a student visa. No, there is no way they can scrap student visa. It gives them a lot of money in this, a lot of contribution to the economy of the UK. There's no way they will scrap it. Yeah. Okay. The student visa is still ongoing. It continue to, the way student visa,
Am I right that, okay, the student tier 4 visa is still okay?
Oh, yes, it's still open, yes.
And that is what you said, that that accounts towards numbers of years settlement in the UK for single or families with children.
The period you spend here counts as lawful residence.
Okay.
But you cannot get indefinite leave to remain as a student. So the student visa does not lead to settlement. But the period you spend as a student counts towards settlement.
Okay, so what type of settlement? Do we say 5-year route or 10-year route?
No, you cannot settle in the UK on a student visa. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. In any case, you cannot stay in the UK as a student for more than 7 years, and that will be for a course in architecture.
Okay, so and you said that the same thing as a graduate visa, you cannot use it as a leading to settlement as well.
The graduate visa on its own does not lead to settlement. Let me tell you what I mean. But there are some visas that on their own, they lead to settlement. If you are here on a spouse visa, right? Once you have lived in the UK with your spouse for 5 years, you get indefinite leave to remain. You are on a work visa.
Okay.
What we call tier 2 visa. Once you have been here as a worker for 5 years, you will get indefinite leave to remain.
Okay. So for my clarification, so for those people that are coming here, so whenever we get like an update from Nigerians that are coming here, some will tell me that, oh, President, we've just had a 3-year healthcare and social care visa, work visa. We just have 5 years healthcare and social worker. Does that mean that, or even if any students have just finished their student program, graduate program, and they end up getting a sponsorship visa for either healthcare or any other work, that can count towards settlement?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You had the student visa plus the healthcare worker visa. You keep counting. The healthcare worker visa on its own leads to settlement.
Okay.
Yeah, on its own leads to settlement after 5 years.
Okay, for both.
But the student visa on its own does not lead to settlement. Even if you spend 10 years as a student. But let me say, you can no longer spend 10 years in the UK as a student. It's no longer possible.
Okay. So I think I understand what you're saying. If someone has a student visa, he now went from student visa to graduate visa, from graduate visa to sponsorship visa, all those ones will count all the way from students.
Yes, we count. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that clarification. That is why this session is interesting. Sorry, my sister, MS Olaide, you wanted to come in?
Yes, I wanted to assist Malenet Senior.
Please.
What he was trying to say is that in the UK, you are either on a 5-year visa route or on a 10-year visa route, right? So the student visa and the post-study, which is known as graduate visa, counts towards the 10 years long-term residence. Do you understand? Settlement. So like he said before, if you want to count 10 years before you get your indefinite leave to remain, your student visa and your graduate visa counts towards the 10 years, but it does not count towards the 5 years. So even if you're on a student visa for 5 years, you cannot get indefinite leave to remain. The only thing you can get is further leave to remain. But however, your student years will count towards the 10 years long-term residence.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly right.
Okay, so I now understand now. So yeah, obviously that cannot count towards 5 years, but that will count towards 10 years settlement. That's correct, isn't it? Thank you very much. I'm learning a lot here, and I believe that a lot of you that are on here are learning. Thank you so much, the two solicitors. Thank you. Okay, my other question. Sorry about this. I just want to draft my own question. Is that the innovator founder visa? That is a replacement for the business visa, which does not require 50,000 fund anymore in order for anybody. So another question is that if someone finishes student studies and from graduate studies, and that person now have a very unique business idea, which is basically try to apply for the innovator founder visa. I think that would that count as well as towards the 10 years route settlement?
Yes, it does count. Of course, you don't have to be intent. The innovator route on its own leads to settlement. If you have been here, of course, the innovator route replaces the startup visa. So the period you spend as a startup on a startup visa, add it to the innovator route. If you are here for, I think it's 5 years, right? Some even less than 5 years, you can get indefinite leave to remain. Yeah, it does count. It does give you settlement. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you don't even need to be 10 years to get to become settled. All right. I don't know whether you answered that question.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that I'm moving to the next one, which is basically MS Olaide talked about the minister visa or for the churches or mosques, etc. So is a visa that if you have God calling, only people that have God calling, you cannot just go and make it up with people. So thank you very much. Because some people might say they want to go and become pastors tomorrow. And we have to make sure that the Home Office is looking at all these things. So I think you've answered that question, clarification of visa period, what counts as a long-term, 10 years long-term, what counts as not long-term. But I think that is all my question. Thank you very much. Does anybody has any question? If you have any question, please raise your hand.
Sorry, just one clarification. You are talking of the innovator visa. Does it count towards all these things? If you are here on the innovator visa, 3 years gives you settlement.
Sorry, what settlement? The 3-year innovator visa, is it towards 5 years or 10 years settlement?
No, even if you live here for 3 years, you'll be able to apply for indefinite leave to remain on the innovator visa.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Without staying for 5 years. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go to the next hand that has been raised up. Theo, I don't know where you're joining us from. If you can, please give us your name and where you're joining and your questions to all our two guest speakers, please, of today.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate Mr. Kolawole for the wonderful job you've been doing for Nigeria community and immigrant in generality, and I want to appreciate the two solicitors who have created time to be on this call and give us information that money could not adequately buy at times. So my question is around the innovator visa. Please, to the two solicitors, what area of business do you think someone can dive into to qualify for the innovator visa? That's my question. Thank you.
You are the one that will determine what skill level you have, what areas you want to conduct your business. This, as the name says, is innovation. All right, it is something that is unique to you. You are doing. You are. It's you can't copy anybody else. That's why it's unique. So you will have your idea, because the process of the application and approval requires you to submit a business plan. This is, you are telling your approving body or endorsing body, this is an innovation. I have this business idea which I want to explore. So you tell them, oh, this and this is the idea I want to explore. It's not somebody, you are not going to copy TFC, you are not going to copy somebody else who has done a similar business. This is unique to you. So you are the one now who will determine how, maybe it's an inspiration God has given to you, right? Is it a technology? Of course, most of the time it has to be in the area of technology, science, right? So you have this unique idea. The idea is unique to you. You've added something. So you are going to present it to the endorsing body and let them see the qualities and the viability of the business you are proposing. So in reality, I don't think I can suggest any area of, in any field, it has to be a business that is viable, that will become scalable, right, when it grows. So it's not restricted to any particular field, but of course, it's common only in the sciences. So that's, I think, science and technology, but not restricted to any particular field. So it has to be something you think you can do, something you are bringing into the market that nobody else has already done. Or if somebody has done it, similar thing, that's something that is making your own to be unique and different.
If I can assist my learned senior, like he said, in clear terms, we are solicitors. We only concentrate on the legal side. So we can't help you with the type of business. We can't help you draw business plans. We do have clients like you that come to us, oh, help me do business plan, help me do viability plans. We'll not be able to assist you with that. The only thing I can recommend is that you go on the Home Office website, you go to the Innovators Visa section, and then you check the endorsing bodies. Now, the Home Office has streamlined, there were loads of endorsing bodies, but they've streamlined it to like 4 or 5. So you speak to them and find out whether your business is a business they are willing to endorse. Do you understand? So in a summary, you still have to do that homework. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to add to that, Mr. Theo. See, the UK, I see, is more or less like whenever you have an idea, everybody has an idea. And one thing I always said whenever I do the Japa video is that we have limited Nigerian resources in this country. For example, when you look at the whole of Leeds is the third biggest in the whole of UK. Hardly how many Nigerian supermarkets do we have? We don't have even, I'm just giving an example. We don't even have, by the time you count 5 or 6, or Nigerian restaurant. So there is a lot of, I believe that our solicitors will support it. That idea doesn't have to be a Western idea. For someone that is, whenever you have a Nigerian tailor here that is doing Nigerian agbada, etc. To be honest with you, when I go into Leeds, the only person I know, which I know for myself, is Ike Choice that is in Hay Hills. But we need more people that whenever you want to innovate, you can bring any innovation, even Nigerian innovation, into this country, because I believe that the Home Office knows that these are going to be useful for the communities. It's not something that is going to be, by the time you get a tailor, more tailors we want in this country for Nigerians, because Nigerians, whenever they want to do anything, they want to do any agbada, most of them have to go back home. So what I would say is that your business plan is what you can put together. If you can create a big Nigerian restaurant, an hotel that is unique, and what that means is that, okay, I don't think that if you present your idea to Home Office will say that, oh, we have so many companies that is doing agbada. No, there's none. There are so many companies that is cooking specialized Nigerian food. The reason why I'm saying this is that when you see all those Asians, they have lots of Asian restaurants for example, in Yorkshire. The amount of Asian restaurant or Chinese restaurant, or maybe Chinese that are doing or plating here, is vast amount. But Nigerian supermarket or restaurant, it's difficult to find like 3 or 4 or 5. So I think that all those ideas of we Nigerians, this is an audience to encourage our Nigerians that are coming from home, that are still here, that if you have anything that you know that is unique, we're talented as a Nigerian. For example, you know how to do ashofi. You know that the way they created them is very unique. It's very unique. If you can do that here, or you can do anything that you can manufacture anything, to be honest with you, I believe that it will be considered. It doesn't have to be a Western stuff. It doesn't have to be something that is done in British or American. That is my own understanding anyway. I hope I'm correct, my learned immigration expert. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah, I think that is correct in a way. All right. But you have to look at when you are presenting your business plan, you have to look at the overall picture.
Yes.
It's not you are not presenting a business plan or trying to secure endorsement just for the purpose of getting a visa.
Yeah.
Right. Because for this type of visa, they require you at the end of 12 months to be making progress reports at the end of the 24 months.
Yeah.
Right. It's a business you want to introduce. You should have part of your business plan is what progress you expect to make in the next 24 months. What plans do you have to create job opportunities? So not just for you as a sole trader forever. So it's your business plan that will incorporate all your intentions.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. So it's a business. Once you are able to convince the endorsing body that this is a scalable and realistic project, you will get an endorsement.
Yeah. No, thanks for that. Okay, so we got the next question from Muminat. Muminat, if you can unfold your face and let's see, and please introduce yourself and let us know where you're calling from, please. Muminat, please.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. My name is Muminat. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, my name is Muminat. So I was living in York and then currently in Manchester. So my first, thank you everybody. Let me, before I jump into questions, thank you everyone that have contributed to this meeting and this enlightenment. My first question is, can parents from Nigeria be dependent with us here in the UK?
Is that your question? That's all.
Yes. No, then the second one is, can a student of 2 years and then after 2 years of study got a work visa, can that count towards 5 years ILR? I mean, from the student to work permit, like total of 5 years. Can it count to ILR in the UK? Thank you.
Okay. Let me take the second question first. You are saying, can students, I take that question to mean, can students switch from a student visa to a work visa?
So already, okay, let me just say the scenario like this.
You said the students have been on 2 years on a student visa.
Yes, and then switch to work permit.
No, what is
after studies? After studies.
as the student, if I take it to a master's, that's if you say it's 3 years.
Yeah.
All right. As he finished the studies.
Yes, and then now working as a nurse.
Yes.
So does that 5 years period count towards ILR, or the person have to wait until when she's 5 years on that work permit before she can apply for ILR?
Oh, you cannot combine a student visa to a work visa for 5 years. You have to work for 5 years. Yes.
Okay.
But they both count towards the long residence. If you are going for the 10 years route, they both count towards 10 years long residence.
Okay.
You cannot combine the years, the period you spend on a student visa to the period you spend as a worker for 5 years route to settlement.
Okay, thank you.
Then you asked about whether you bring your parents, right?
Yeah, for example.
As your dependents.
Yes.
Yeah, your parents cannot be your dependent. They are already over 18, right? However, if you have a parent who needs medical, who has a medical issue, right? That they call it adult dependent relative. All right. That parent, by reason of her health, cannot take care of herself, cannot even provide for her own food, cannot feed herself, cannot bath for herself. So the parent depends on another person to help her to go through her normal daily living. All right.
Okay.
And that is the only occasion you can bring her to the UK. And you must be able to say there is nobody else in that country, no close family member in that country that can look after that parent for you. All right.
Okay.
So the question, if you are bringing that parent today, the question is, when did that condition start? Did it start 2 years ago, 3 years ago? So what has happened? What was happening 3 years ago? What happened 2 years ago? Why can't that situation arrangement continue?
What if she's a widow and she lives alone, and you are the one?
Can she prepare her own food?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so she's not going to be dependent on you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
The one if she cannot prepare her food, if she cannot bath for herself. So yeah, more or less they are saying unless she becomes a vegetable before you can bring her to the UK.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Sharon, I think that is Sharon there.
Okay, all right. Sharon, please introduce yourself, where you're calling us from, and where you're joining us from, and please, your questions for our two guest speakers.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon. I'm calling from Sheffield. Yeah, I have 2 questions to ask. But my first question is that I was a student, which I moved to Tier 2 visa, which is the skilled visa, and it's on 5 years route. So I want to ask, is it possible for me to move from that skilled visa to innovation visa?
Yes, it is possible, but what would be the reason for you to switch from skilled visa to innovation visa?
Because there's not enough shift from my sponsor. And it's really not, something I really wanted to settle for. Because when I was a student, I've been writing my business proposal, but due to the 50,000 grant on the requirements, like I could not even proceed to it, even though I went to my university entrepreneur advisor. So they asked me to write my business and everything. They saw it, they are interested, but the visa is really, really running out of time. And I got the sponsorship. But my challenge with the sponsorship is just that I'm not getting enough shifts in order to fill the bills and everything. Sometimes I might be at home for 3 weeks, not doing anything. So that's why I'm like, okay, fine, can I switch? It seems like I got an advice from the earlier person that commented that it's no more 50,000 grant, that it's just about 1,000 plus. That's why I'm asking if I can switch from being this.
You are talking of 50,000 now. Are you talking that's 50,000 pounds related to the startup visa, right?
Yes.
And that has been replaced by the innovator founder.
Okay, that's why I'm asking that. Is it possible for me to switch from my tier 2 to the startup business?
Yes, it is. Why not? So you are one of the people in the tier 2. So they gave you a tier 2 visa with no job. So you are not even meeting your income requirement.
Yeah.
So if Home Office knows now that situation, so your employer is one of the people they should be revoking their license. Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking that in order for that not to happen to me, that is it possible to switch to something safer for me, which is the business, doing the startup business?
Yeah, you have to first of all get an endorsement. Yes. So yeah, make your proposal, but don't resign yet until you get your endorsement.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because apparently I'm looking into something that, like, for example, I reside in Sheffield, and there's no more of people that makes Africa air. There are people that does that, but they don't have the shops. I'm looking at, even though if I cannot just be alone, I can partner with some people that can do some certain kind of air, get a shop, and I don't know. And like,
what the endorsing body will determine whether that is an innovation. So you can try it.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what innovation. Yeah, maybe. I mean, innovation is not restricted. They didn't say you cannot go into the business that somebody else has been doing, but it shouldn't be exactly the same way. There must be something unique you are bringing into this to the project.
To the project, okay. Because location determines it.
Sorry?
Can location determines it? The kind of business.
The business has to be located in the UK.
Yeah, it is. It will be in the UK, but like, Sheffield, to be precise, to be honest with you, Sheffield.
We are not the endorsing bodies. It is the endorsing bodies that will have to make that decision. Like I said before, we are just solicitors. Once you've sorted all that out with your endorsing body and they've endorsed it, we will just apply for the visa for you. We're just telling you the requirements so you are aware that it exists. Do you understand?
Oh, yeah.
What I would think that, let me come in here. Thank you very much, Mr. Ilak, and I think so the answer to your question over, I think you've gotten an answer. What it is that, in my understanding, innovation can be anything. It doesn't have to be technical or maybe tech, something like that. My understanding is that the UK knows that there's some skills, there's some businesses that are lacking within a certain area within the UK. I was analyzing like a Nigerian restaurant. Basically, inside your proposal is what you present in your proposal that matters. You can end up doing a Nigerian restaurant of the 21st century, and they will look at it. Why is this, etc. like that? Everything is now in the 21st century, but your innovation has to show that, okay, this is something that is not only for Nigerians, it's for everybody. So whatever idea you have, you just have to sit down and work on that proposal. And as the immigration expert has said, the people that would endorse it, you just have to understand that body, know the processes of, okay, where to send your proposal. And if they look at it, and what they will look at, for me, I'm a project manager, and I know that we write lots of proposals whenever we're presenting a business case. You should have a very strong business case. What that means is that when you have a business case, how do you know that this business is going to make profit? How do you know that this business has greater competitor or less competitor? All those things will be in your business case. And by the time you prove it, because remember that your business case is what you're going to present to your bank as well. If you want to open a business account, if you want to borrow some money, your bank will say, please, we need to see your business case. Can you give us a projection, a 1 year or 2 year projection of your profit projection, how much you think that you're going to be making, and what are the population or the amount of communities that you're going to be purchasing your business. So everything depends on your business plan and the people that will endorse it. Once they endorse that, then you have a green light to go and apply for the innovator funder visa. So what I will encourage you is that you have a very good idea. Make sure you develop it. Don't give up, and pray to it, whether you're a Christian or Muslim or etc. But there is nothing you cannot achieve. But my understanding about innovation is not only about tech. It's not only about technology. The way it sounds, innovation, what that means is that you can do anything. You can do anything, and it doesn't have to be. So whatever you do, good luck.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate. Thank you, the lawyers and you yourself. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful for the idea. I so much appreciate.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Mr. Muminat, do you still have more questions for us? No, I don't think so. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Now it's 5:34, and we would like to say a huge thank you to our guest speakers. Does anybody still have any question? If you have any question, I'll put it on our platform. You can send your question to admin@nysc.org.uk. We will forward the question to the guest speakers, and they will be able to contact you. If you want to, make sure you have a note of the guest speakers' number, and it's on the presentation. I believe that if you want to speak to MS Olaide Awobila, she resides in Manchester, our community solicitor, and that's Mr. Kende Ayilaka, Graceful Solicitor. Once you type in Graceful Solicitor in the Google, you'll be able to get where they're based, and they're experts. They're always supporting our organization, our community. So I would like to say, so finally, does anybody have any more questions? If there is none, I think we might have to round this up. I would like to use this opportunity to say thank you. Oh, iPhone, I don't know your name, so you have to come up and introduce your name and where you're joining us from. Please go ahead, iPhone.
Okay, sorry, I just joined back. It's me, Theophilus. I asked a question the other time.
Correct.
So in Bradford. Okay, my second question that I could not ask the other time is this. For the two solicitors, please, how can a person that has been called to the Nigeria bar be able to practice here in the UK? What are the procedure and criteria? Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hi, sir.
Theo, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you gone to the Law Society website or the SRA website?
Not yet.
Oh, that is where you should start from. The process of how you can requalify is there. If you want to register as a foreign solicitor, or if you want to requalify and seek admission as a solicitor of England and Wales, with all the instructions and what you need to do, they are there. All right.
Okay, sir.
For us to be telling you this now, it's a different thing entirely. For those, this does not relate to most of the people here.
Okay, the website, sir, again, please. The website. Law Society.
Yeah, if you put Law Society or SRA, yeah, www.sra.org.uk.
Okay, sir.
www.lawsociety.co.uk. Yeah,
okay, sir.
You see the process there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. You are muted, Chairman. Nobody's hearing you, Mr. James.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have someone raising Ellen Taiwo. Have a question. Please, can you reveal your face and please ask your question, where you joining, your name and where you're joining us from. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, the facilitators of this program. It's really educative. We really appreciate your time and everything. Okay, my name is Helen Taiwo. My question is that the innovative visa can a dependent apply for it, or must it be the student that will apply for it?
Now, the innovative visa, it has to be you.
Wow.
How will your dependent meet your child or who?
Spouse, sorry, spouse.
Oh, okay. Why not? Your spouse has a visa, is already living in the UK as well, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for all those questions. Does anybody have any more questions? This is the golden one-time opportunity this year. We only do this once in a year. Otherwise, you have to go and you have to go. But again, you can always contact the solicitors. As I said, you can contact them. They're not going to do it for you for free. They will give you a discount. And I tell you, basically, that it's better for have a very good, solid legal advice before you make your next move for yourself as a student, or your family, or your business. You know, and this is why they normally come to this. They volunteer to come and help us on this session anyway. Why I'm going to ask another again. Any more questions before we round this up? Any more questions before we round this up for today? All right. Okay. If we don't have any more questions, I would like to use this opportunity on behalf of the Nigerian Yorkshire Community Network, stakeholders, volunteers.
Sorry, please, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, please. I was actually driving. That's why I couldn't raise my hand. So
okay,
I just parked now.
Okay, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Yusuf, and I'm calling from Huddersfield. Thank you so much for the program. Is so impactful. I actually want to ask this question on behalf of a friend who came in as a student with his family. Apparently, the person has a child that's they came in last year and on a student visa till September this year for 1 year course, and they have a child who's going to be above by September. That child is going to be above 18. Now, what they're actually telling them is that they need to change their visa type, probably to work visa or healthcare visa, before that child becomes 18. If not, that child will have to look for a way to get his own personal visa that is not going to come under them as dependents. So it's highly confusing. So we don't know what to do. He's confused. They don't know what to do, if that is right or not. So we just want to get a clarification from the solicitor, if that provision is actually right or not. Thank you.
Sorry, let me understand you clearly. Your friend is a student. Did you say it's a student?
Yes.
So he entered the UK as a student with his family.
Yes.
Okay. One of the dependents is his child.
Yes.
Who is presumably 17 and will turn 18 before their visa will expire, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what visa is your friend going to apply for?
Probably to change to work visa before that child gets to 18. If not, the child will not be able to come under them as dependents.
No, the child may not be able to apply with them at the same time. If the child turns 18, he needs to make a separate application. It could still be on the basis of the fact that he came as a dependent of his parents.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So, but if they have an opportunity to switch to a work visa, he cannot even switch to work visa anymore while he is still a student. He has to finish his studies first. Right? Yeah. So he can join them to apply when he's fishing, but he will have to make his own separate application. That's what it means.
Okay.
Was it his fault that he was he was getting close to 17? As long as he came in with them as their dependent, right? They cannot require him to go back, and they cannot require him to switch to his own independent visa. No.
Okay.
Yeah, so he will have the rights to remain because he came with them as their dependent. Yeah.
Okay.
But of course,
Thank you.
because it has turned 18, he will have to make his own separate application. It will still be on the basis of the fact that he has been their dependent. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
And of
thank
course,
you.
it will help him as well. If maybe it might be a full-time student if he's still under 18. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
the second question is, apparently the challenges many Nigerians are facing here now, currently, where an agent will bring you in and they don't get you shift, and they will ask you, oh, go and work elsewhere. Probably that is actually apparently illegal for you to go and work elsewhere and bring back the money and now do as if they are paying you salary. Now the question is,
but you know that is wrong.
Yes, apparently.
Both for you and the employer.
So in that instance, what is advisable for the employee to do? That is number one question. The number two question is that apparently maybe the person now decided to look for another sponsorship in care too, and he got that sponsorship. So will he have to cancel the first one? Then probably you are still like up to 1 year already under that sponsorship. Will it continue to count, or is it going to start afresh from the new employer?
Probably because when you submit a new application on a new because you have a new certificate of sponsorship, right?
Yes.
And is granted, it will automatically cancel
the first one.
Yes, it will cancel the first one. Before now, you cannot combine visas from before now. You cannot combine, right? If you leave one employer and switch to another employer, you have to stay for 5 years with the new employer before you can get indefinite leave to remain. So it does not permit you to be switching one employer from one employer to another employer tomorrow and then add all of them together. All right. But I think Lydie mentioned something about that there are those categories that can be combined. So maybe I think I want him to give details about that if she wants. All right. But before you can't combine, you have to stay with one employer for 5 years before you can get indefinite leave to remain on the basis of you work on the basis of that work visa, unless that can be combined. And I think the categories of those that can be combined, they can explain further about that. It depends on the type of visa, when the number of if there are the categories that are allowed, you are allowed to combine. Because I know there is a primary, I know apart from your prior to now, you are only allowed to work with one employer without supplementary job. But now you can do supplementary work without even applying for another certificate of sponsorship. So there are some categories that you can combine. Yeah, it depends on the way it is. I don't know whether Lydie wants to make comments on that.
Okay, let me just clarify. Now, with regards to your question, if the person does not, your agency, by the way, my battery is almost low. If it goes off, I'm already connected via Victor Adams, so I'll continue. So if you are employed and your agency cannot provide you with a job, the way around it that people have been going around it is that you will try and get another job, and that other company will pay your employer. So you are still within the rules. But like Mr. Ileka said, it is illegal, so they will now pay you. So if in the long run, your new employer now wants to offer you COS, right, you will now need to apply, like Mr. Ileka rightly said, they will need to make another application, and the old COS would drop off. Now, depending on the kind of profession it is, right, if you go on the Home Office guidance notes, categories in terms of indefinite leave to remain, you will see it there. So like the Minister of Religion, normally if you switch from Minister of Religion to Health and Care, you need to start again. But now you can combine that and still continue on a 5-year settlement. So with your kind of scenario, it is not a straightforward answer that we can give you. We need to analyze it. We need to check the guidance to be sure that the new employer and the old employer, the visas can be combined towards the 5-year settlement. Or the worst case scenario, it will just, you have to start again and it will count towards the 10 years long-term residence. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. But the first questions has not been answered. That in case we couldn't get a shift, and what do you advise for us to do?
Sorry, you may need to start again. My battery has gone off, so I didn't hear you.
Okay, what I'm saying is, you are brought in on a healthcare visa, and your employer couldn't get you a job. Yes. And apparently he's telling you go and work elsewhere, bring it, which is illegal. Yes. In that circumstances, what advice will you give?
Well, my advice is that is a temporary solution. It is not a permanent solution, because at least with that you will earn good money rather than the 20 hours you're allowed to work with another employer within the same profession that your agency brought you in. So my advice is that you shouldn't just relax. Try and see whether your new employer can issue you a COS, so then you can move to theirs. Because like Mr. Ileka said, once the Home Office finds out, it is illegal. Do you understand? Because they have intentionally misled the Home Office that they are able to pay your salary. And the reason why a lot of people, because to the best of my knowledge, the reason why a lot of agencies have been successful in doing that is because once they start this care agency, say for instance, they want to start a care agency and they know obviously the money in their account is not enough to employ, like say 10 care workers. What our people, mostly Nigerians and the Asians, have been doing is that they will look for another company, say company A, they have annual returns of profits of 10 million pounds. So what they will do is that they will say they are in partnership with company A. So once the Home Office checks their account, they will say, okay, it is true. Company A and B together, they have 10 million pounds in their account, and the Home Office will issue them the 10 COS that they need. Meanwhile, don't forget that they only went into partnership with that person just because they want to use the person's bank account. Can you remember? I don't know whether you were listening to my session when I was talking about yes. Yeah. So they have met that money requirement. They've been able to show the Home Office that they have the money, but in reality, they don't have that money. Do you understand? So now they are left with 10 COS. Now they've now sold the COS to somebody that wants to come in, or someone that is in country that wants to switch. That is why they don't have the job. They only just formed it just to cash out on this new Japa thing and the new health and care visa. So that is what actually happened. So, because some people will say, okay, but how come the Home Office gave them COS when they don't have jobs? What they've done is that they've gone and maybe they have a family member that has that money. Do you understand? They will say, oh, we are together, we're working together. Do you understand? So an Home Office will check, oh yeah, they have money, give them 10 COS. And meanwhile, this person just started their care agency. They don't have that actual money. They only use somebody else's account to front. Do you understand that they're in partnership? And that's why the Home Office will now curtail their visa once all these issues start coming up.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think Mr. Yusuf, you satisfied with all those responses?
Very much satisfied, but I just want one more clarification, sir.
Go on.
In relation to what our solicitor just mentioned now, and I think because probably Home Office have allowed unlimited hour for the second job for healthcare, probably that's why some of these agencies were asking that, oh, go and work elsewhere and bring something.
No, the Home Office has not allowed that. The Home Office, even because of all this noise, before you could use the 20 hours, the additional 20 hours to do any other job. Now, because of all these kind of issues, the Home Office has amended the rules last year to say that the 20 hours that you can use for the second job has to be the same profession with the company that gave you the COS.
Yes. Yes. So probably if it is healthcare, then you must, that's
it has
second
to be
job
that
must
same
still
help.
be
Yeah,
second job.
must be within the healthcare. Yes.
Yes, my clarification now is we understand that from February this year till August, that's 20 hours has been unlimited hours, probably 40 hours. I just want to get further clarification on that till August of this year.
To the best of my knowledge, I'm not aware of that, except my learned senior can comment on that.
Okay.
How can home office allow you to work on limited hours?
No, what I mean is what we said was that from February 27th, 2023, 6 months window to say if you are working under healthcare, your second job can be more than 20 hours.
Yes.
So that's where I want to get clarification till maybe they are going to review it on 27th of August or not.
Yes, that's correct. From when they review it, your second job or supplementary job cannot be more than the hours you do on the supplementary job cannot be more than the hours you do on the primary your main job.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the circumstances that make them to say, okay, fine. Oh, we need a lot of healthcare workers now. Don't let us restrict them. Don't let us see they are ready. Yes, but of course, the total number of hours you work cannot be more than usually 48 hours. You cannot be made to work more than 48 hours. That's it. Yeah, but that arrangement is a temporary one, as you said, anyway.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenda Ilaka and MS Mr. Awubila for that question. It's one of those questions that is always coming up. And we normally, as part of the Japa video we did at the Nigerian Yorkshire Community Network, this was one of the reasons why we were advising Nigerians about just collecting healthcare and social care visa or etc. coming to the UK. The employer that gives you that visa is supposed to be giving you a job. If they're not doing that, from the conversation I've had with the Home Office representative, basically they will be in trouble. Obviously, his Home Office will be revoking their license, and it's very important that we as Nigerians, whether we're from home, as part of the Japa project, which we're saying is that you need to watch out that, okay, a lot of people say that they spend 20 million, 25 million to collect this 3-year or 5-year visa, and they get to UK, they can't get a job for 6 months. They're racking up bills, they have to pay, etc. So this is one of those things that we are always advising people that, please, you need to watch out. There's so many options in terms of the jobs that are there now. As I've said in the Japa video we did, people should go to your YouTube. The international recruitment, as you see in the video there, basically has been actually halted or stopped. For now, Nigeria has been put on the list of some of the countries that does not need to be targeted anymore. So international recruitment, teachers are the areas that they are advising people to come through now. Whether you're a teacher in Nigeria, you can always come down. This is my understanding, and it's an opportunity. Even if you're in this country, you can train as a teacher. The UK government is looking for teachers, and if you're very good at your writing English, speaking English, and presentation of English, I believe that you can always approach, after you've done some training, etc. You can also approach all those schools, and all those schools can get you a sponsorship visa. So this is why we're trying, as part of our Japa video, from home, if you're coming to this country, you need to prepare yourself financially. If you come here, with your family of 1, 2, 3, or 4, you might have issues with accommodation, because you have to get an accommodation. So it's very good that Nigerians back home and others should please understand this as part of what we're trying to tell them. We're not telling them not to come to this country, but prepare yourself. Otherwise, you will end up, obviously, with a kind of difficulties once you get down here. So that is the advice from the Nigerian Yorkshire community and our stakeholders in terms of Japa project. So for all those people can go onto our YouTube, and please refer to our YouTube on some of the videos we have done to support the Nigerian, to support our Nigerians in diaspora, Nigerians back home, on if they're planning to embark on a journey to UK. And there are other countries there you can go. Canada and Australia and America is there. So, but thank you. Anyway, it seems that there's no more question. We have to round this up now. Thank you so much. I would like to say again, thank you to our solicitor, Mr. Kende Ayilaka, Principal Solicitor, Graceful Solicitor in Leeds. Thank you so much, sir. And MS Olaide Awugbila, Specialist in Immigration and Family Law Matters, based in Manchester. If you have any questions.
I have a question, sorry. I want to ask, based on that teaching aspects.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone that participated, and thank you to our two solicitors on ground. I really appreciate you guys. I want to ask the teaching aspects. Are you saying that if one is a qualified teacher from Nigeria and has taught for like many years back home, and also a member of a body, the registered body in Nigeria, the TRCN, is it automatic just to apply to a school and they will give sponsorship for any interested candidates?
Well, I think to what I have I've read, and to be honest with you, what I would say is that there are a lot of opportunities there now that for teachers. And while we're doing this session, I was about to round this up, but again. So while I was teaching, this is the website I'll refer you to. This is the government website, Recruitment of Teachers from Overseas. It's a very interesting page. All you need to do is basically read it carefully. The Home Office, the government is even giving £10,000 if you qualify to move from Nigeria or any other country to UK. So if you want to come and become a teacher, so the opportunities are there. If you're a teacher, you can always do additional training. There's a training that even you can do a QTS training. Even before you do that QTS training in the UK, you can still qualify to be a teacher. So for example, I was talking about 4 years. So 4 years rules exemption. These are to be eligible for 4 years. Applicant will need to have a qualified as a teacher in the country outside the UK. So if you know that you're qualified as a teacher in Nigeria, then that is a green light for you to apply. And once you apply, and remember that even they said overseas applicants do not need a QTS, which is the QTS to teach in a maintained school in England for 4 years of stay in the UK, and an exemption known as 4-year rule. So all those things are there. And what I will say is that, you know, the opportunities are there. If you're a teacher, you can always grab this. You can speak very good English, presentation and written. I can tell you, you can teach in primary school, you can teach in college, you know, and these are you can see these are the pay conditions and offer they can give. And as I said, you know, it's one of those things that in terms of your question, can really help you a lot in whatever you want to achieve in terms of your teaching profession. So does that answer your question, please?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
I will put the link. I will put the link on the chat. Then you can. So I've got the link in the chat there. You can always go there and have a look at it. To be honest with you, it's beneficial and you can pass it over. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So as I was trying to round up again, like to thank again our guest speaker 1 and 2. If you have any question, you know their chambers, you know their name, type it on Google, it will always come up. And if you want to get in contact with them, you can contact us. I would like to round today's up, and I will be bringing someone to close this prayer for us. Pastor Stephen Adegoke. Pastor Stephen Adegoke is one of our committee volunteers. If you're there, Pastor, let's have a look. Can you do a closing prayer for us for this session? Let's see, maybe Pastor Stephen is there.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for to the two solicitors. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you, President, for the great work you are doing. It's been very wonderful. And I hope all the students, all the care workers, and everyone have got one or two things as we close. Father, we thank you once again this hour. We thank you for the
ideas that we have gotten from our solicitors. Thank you for this community. So thank you because it is by your grace that we have been able to gather together and to have this knowledge. We say, be thou exalted in the mighty name of Jesus. We ask, even as we go into the rest of the week and further ahead in our endeavors and to settle down in this country and to go to the next level of our life, we pray that you will strengthen us. We pray that you give us the grace to subdue all obstacles. And we ask, oh God, that at the end of this whole movement, we'll have the focus to glorify your holy name. In Jesus' mighty name, we are prayed. Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Pastor Stephen. And Pastor Stephen is one of our executives. But I would like to thank everybody for this session. It has been a fabulous wonder. Every year when we do this session, it's so, right from the beginning, it's so just fiery. And to be honest with you, I normally say this is why we're recording on YouTube. A lot of people, thanks to, our, again, Grace Solicitor. I don't know how to thank you. My sister, Awubila Olaide. Thank you so much. Please, you can reach up to them. Don't think that you want to change from one and you say you can do it yourself. These are experts. These are their career life. And at the end of the day, the little money they're going to tell you to pay, I don't think it's going to kill you at all. So on behalf of the organization, I'd like to say thank you to everybody. And you have a blessed evening. Have a blessed weekend. And thank you. Bye-bye to everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Oh shit. Day there will be yeah. Pana pana kaka kana pana pana kaka pana pana kaka kana pana. Say you know, say they make my heart beat up body go. Say you know, say if you leave me baby what that for do? Say you know, I feel to use my head to break broken not for you. Say you know, say you know. Adopra, bra, Gonzano, papa, me ho. Adopra, me pa wajo, imiti na pa me ho. Adopra, bra, Gonzano, papa, me ho. Adopra, me pa wajo, imiti na pa me ho. Girl, I go fi do anything for you, oh my baby, oh. See this your body, they cause go pay, oh my baby, oh. Girl, I got plenty things I could show you. See, I won't follow you on the show. Yeah, you can see mama ko japo. It's mama ko japo. It's mama ko, can see mama ko japo. Say you know, say they make my heart beat up body go. Say you know, say if you leave me, baby, what that for do? Say you know. I feel to use my head to break broken, not for you, say you know. Say you know, Adopra, bra, Gonzano, papa, me ho. Adopra, me pa wajo, imiti na pa me ho. Adopra, bra, Gonzano, papa, me ho. Adopra, me pa wajo, imiti na pa me ho. Oh, yeah. Enough time me can it be, enough time me can it be, yeah, I'm back home, oh, yeah. Enough time me can it be, enough time me can it be, yeah. Yeah, you can see mama ko japo, it's mama ko japo, it's mama ko, can see mama ko japo. Say you know, say they make my heart beat up body go. Say you know. Say if you leave me, baby, what that for do? Say you know, I feel to use my head to break broken, not for you. Say you know, say you know. Adopra, bra, Adopra, me pa wajo, imiti na pa me ho.